What's up, YouTube? You're behind the scenes on my podcast. We're talking about how to make $1 million with social media, how you can make money using social media, either in your business or in other ways. We talk about Floyd fight, $500 million fight tomorrow. And all right, let's go live here on Facebook. And oh yeah, I'm gonna give away a laptop. Got a laptop here to give away. Got some cash. Zach said laptop, drop top. Let's go Facebook. Facebook is taking a while to go live. Someone said, Ty, you are awesome. Ty, what do you think of Floyd Mayweather as a businessman? Someone says, what's up? I'm here. Yeah, did I donate some blood? Yep. You see the Band-Aids on my arm. Thanks for the free views on here, Ty, man. You saved me from a lot. Those beats, can I get... Are you sure that...
Yeah, they're all connected to the right internet. We did speed tests on them, too.
What's up?
They're updated.
Who the fuck? Someone's trying to sound like Floyd Mayweather is gonna win, right? Well, we're talking about that, but we're talking about the business side of it too. Everybody's trying to. All I could say about the Floyd Mayweather fight is, when a guy's 0 for 0, you can't predict very well. Although you can predict that Floyd's really good, legendary. What do I think about Christopher London? Ty, will you lend me $101? Am I nervous? Trump is kind of an idiot, somebody said. Okay. I love these comments. Was it on the right internet?
Yeah, it was.
Maybe Facebook is just, speaking of how to make money on social media, be the next Mark Zuckerberg. That's a good way.
No, that's all.
That's it. Who has the next big idea like Facebook? Zach? I got one. I got an app that I'm going to be launching soon. Yeah, I don't know what's up with Facebook. We're going to have to go live without Facebook?
Maybe I'll reset the phone.
Someone says virtual reality movies is going to be the next one on Twitter. Someone said first live video for me.
Should we next time have a mic just for that?
Facebook sucks. Who here uses Facebook? I feel like Facebook, nobody really uses Facebook unless it's like your grandma. But they do scroll through the feed. Do you scroll through your Facebook feed?
I will every other day maybe.
Do you?
I don't even use Facebook anymore.
Zach?
I know, I do Messenger text. That's about it.
Really?
Oh, well, I also go accept
Try
friends.
a different network.
So, people complain too much on Facebook.
Ty, watch the movie Pretty Woman. Facebook has the worst comment these days. Facebook sucks and I stopped using it 2 years ago. Cougar Lack says. Cougar Lack. Where do people...
Hey, Cougar Lack.
We have to literally go through the psychology of usernames.
Is that a cougar or someone that likes cougars? Like cougar-like.
Cougar Lax? Or maybe he's like a cougar, but he's lax. Like he's not taking it seriously enough.
Chill cougar.
Or maybe he meant cougar light.
I thought, yeah, like he's missing.
Ty, can I be a millionaire tomorrow? Rob a bank. Facebook.
Don't actually do that.
Don't actually. I'm just saying you would become a millionaire, but
We do not endorse
it's live?
Yeah.
What's up, everybody on Facebook? Giving away money and a laptop, and I'm talking about something very important, which is, how come this thing won't turn? I think the comments are going to come up weird. Do you have the lock?
Yeah, let me... I think when I was trying to test it, it must have went live too quick. And I finished this.
You going to kill it and do it again, or just do it?
Yeah, I killed it.
Can we find a different way to phrase that?
What, kill it?
Yeah, I mean, with all the violence that's going on right now,
Killing Facebook live.
I feel like it's not very sensitive to say it like that.
Nice car, nice house. What time is there? Here in Hollywood. Ty, you're someone I look up to. I mean it. Can I get a shout out? What's up? Who said that?
Okay, try now.
All right, I'm gonna try it now. Damn you, Facebook. There we go. What's up, Facebook? We're live. We're talking about all kinds of stuff on my podcast. And I'm giving away this laptop to somebody who stays at the end. I'll be asking a question, kind of like Jeopardy. And I'm going to give away some cash along the way. Okay, let me do Instagram. 3, 2, 1. What's up? What's up, Instagram? Live. We're going live behind the scenes of my podcast radio show right now, talking about how you can make money with social media. Everybody asks me how they can take their social media accounts and start making money from them. Or if you're an entrepreneur, we'll be talking about that. We'll talk about some of the news. We got Zach here, Armin, Colin. Hello. 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 Zach, you look very strange. But, okay, we're going to officially start the podcast. By the way, stay to the end. I'm giving away this laptop right here to one lucky person that's live. Okay, should I start now?
Yeah.
Okay, welcome to today's podcast. We're talking about how to make $1 million from social media. So if you're an entrepreneur, there's a way to do it. If you're just a regular person and you see that you're using all this social media and you're making other people rich and you want to know some techniques, that's what I'm gonna talk about, so that it's not just Mark Zuckerberg and Evan Spiegel that are so rich, you know. Social media gonna change the world for everybody. And we're also gonna talk about Floyd Mayweather, $500 million fight versus Conor McGregor. It's coming up in about less than 24 hours. So yeah, I'm gonna jump right into it. I got a couple things. So I just came back. You can see here on my arms, I got these Band-Aids. If you're wondering, I gave blood yesterday.
Oh, I thought you were really upset about some stuff.
And I was cutting myself?
Yeah. When I didn't want to say anything when we were talking in the living room earlier.
Oh, okay.
I didn't want to bring it up.
Is that where that's not where people cut themselves.
I don't think
not in the arteries right there.
I hope not.
Okay, first off, let me just say this one quick thing. If your life depended on it, I would bet on Floyd Mayweather. But if you want to make money, you might want to bet on Conor, because right now the odds I saw, you'll have to bet if you bet 100 grand on Floyd and you win, they'll give you back 120 grand. So to make 20,000 profit, you have to bet 100,000. But Conor's about the opposite. If you bet 100,000 and you win, you get 350,000 back.
Yeah.
So that's roughly the odds. So if your life depended on it, but you never know in a fight. I just saw Andre Ward being interviewed, and he said, in a fight, you never know who's going to win. And that's true.
Boxing's a little shady.
Boxing shady. It could be fixed. Who thinks it's fixed? Okay, but let's talk about something that's relevant for you. Conor McGregor is a master of social media. So if you own a business or thinking of owning a business, or you work at a company in the marketing department, or you do sales or something like that, just look at how everything's changed. You got this guy, Conor McGregor, who about 3 months ago, maybe 6 months ago, I looked at his Instagram and he had something like 6 million followers. And now I think he's at 15 million or something. And remember, that's completely free, organic following for him. And now he's gonna make probably $100 million. So for each of you, I think the first lesson, some of you take notes on my podcast, and I'll just say is that social media is necessary because it gets you free attention. Before social media, you could do the same thing. I mean, if you come back in Hollywood or anywhere really in the world 30 years ago, what would you do? You try to use PR. So you would hire a company and they would do some viral stuff for you, and they would put out a press release and all this stuff. But now you can do it yourself. And at the core of social media, that's what social media is. So people ask me, like, how do you get more followers on your social media? How do you get more YouTube subscribers? Instagram. I think I've got about 1 million YouTube subscribers. Actually, my Instagram has been growing fast recently. It's been growing at about 20,000 a day, new followers on Instagram.
And you do that without even showing your ass. Or wearing a bikini. So,
I definitely don't wear a bikini.
But Zach does.
Zach
Zach
wore a bikini once. But I've tested different things. On Facebook once, I got 1 million fans in liking my page in 1 week. That's the most I've ever done, about 200,000 a day. And so I don't always keep up at that pace. It takes a lot of work and stuff, but just remember this. This is a simple rule of thumb. I think it's realistic to make about 25 cents per follower. So if you have 10,000 followers, there's ways you could be making $2,500 a month recurring from that or ongoing. If you have 100,000 followers, you could be making $25,000. It depends on how smart you are and all that kind of stuff, but that's a good rule of thumb. I've seen people making $1 a follower, and that's just Instagram. Twitter is less valuable. Snapchat and Instagram are very valuable. YouTube's pretty valuable too. And then email addresses. I always include into social media. I mean, to me, I would even include this podcast. For those of you, I actually have a special guest here, Colin Thompson, who works with me on my podcast, helping me grow it.
That's me.
And you've seen people, I mean, people are making money from podcasts that don't have a huge following, right? I mean,
Yeah.
People that just, why do you think that is? Do you think podcast is just so engaging? It's like addictive?
Yeah. Well, actually, that's really interesting. I think that a lot of what really contributes to kind of the outsized influence that we see from podcasting in general, it has to do with the fact that it's the longest type of content that's usually consumed in its entirety. You know,
Right.
So we're working out, we're commuting, whatever it is. If you follow this podcaster, you might be listening to them 3 or 4 hours a week.
Yeah.
If you follow a YouTuber, 20, 30, 40 minutes a week.
Right.
And that's where that influence comes
And
from.
YouTube, you got to be in front of the phone. Whereas Instagram, you don't have to be in front of podcast, you don't have to be in front of the phone. You can just put a headset on. Now, I'm going to be talking about lots of different stuff on today's podcast, but all related to the subject of, we're going to talk about business and making money, but I also want to talk current events, because one of the things, if you really want to know how to grow on social media, the people that grow on social media, they grab existing trends. And in the modern world, trends can come and go in a matter of minutes. So if you look at the one girl, Danielle, I forget how to pronounce her last name, Breggiola, she was the Cash Me Outside girl, and she was on Dr. Phil, Cash Me Outside. She said that little catchphrase. It went viral. It became a meme. And now that girl, she's probably making, at one point I know she was making at least $100,000 a week. And she's only, I think, 14 or 15. Her and her mom were over here at my house about 5 months ago. She's a smart kid. People think she's dumb. She's not smart. But she caught a trend. And that's the big thing. And so one of the things that I like to do with social media is not only post to social media, not only, try to make money directly, but try to reverse engineer social media. So, for example, one of the things I do, a daily routine tip, okay? And so I gave you number 1 tip. I need a little piece of paper to keep track of what tip number I'm on. Number 2 tips is use social media to check the daily trends. And there's a couple ways I'll give you how to do that. The first thing that I do, just in my daily routine, probably the first thing I check on social media every day is Twitter. If you go to Twitter and you click the little magnifying glass icon, there's like at the bottom of Twitter, there's a home, a magnifying glass, a bell, and an email. They changed it recently. I hate the new update, but you click here. Is he getting a notepad?
Yeah, he is.
So right now you can see a couple things. They hand select what they think is the important news. So right now it's Hurricane Harvey. But if you look here on the trends, you can see the top most hashtagged things. And Twitter, you can really find trends before anyone else. And that's something that you can use to translate into money. Like whether it's you that are actually going viral or something else that you can grab hold of. So right now you got Trump pardoned former sheriff and ally Joe Arpaio, sorry.
He did.
Oh, I was gonna say.
Yeah, he did.
Oh, wow.
Pentagon, Dennis
It is.
Richmond. Some of the stuff is just goofy stuff. But I want to encourage everybody who's trying to rise up in life. I was reading a book. I read actually 7 books in the last day and a half because I've been on an airplane. I flew out to Florida real quick. I had a business meeting and I came right back. So I've been on flights for 14 hours in the last 30 hours. And so I read 7 books. And one of the books that I actually read last night when I got home was the story of the Warner Brothers. So Warner Brothers is a big movie studio. You've seen, what's their most famous movie, Warner Brothers? but the most famous. Did they do Scarface?
The most famous Warner Brothers film?
Warner Brothers. They do Batman?
Yeah.
Batman's Warner Brothers. That's not their most famous. But anyway, the interesting story is what. Now, of course, there was no social media back then, and it was 4 brothers. Jack was the main one, and they were born actually in Poland, and they came to America. They were Jewish, and one of them bought a movie projector, and this is like in 1903. Okay, 1903. Edison had created this movie picture thing. So this dude, Jack, buys one for $1,000. You know how much $1,000 was in 1903? I mean, that's like 30 grand now, okay? So he was ahead of the trends. He brought it in to his family and he said, let's watch a movie. And they saw this movie called, what was that? It was a famous it was a train robber one.
Yeah.
The Great Train Robbery, I think it was called.
Yeah.
It's one of the most famous movies.
Birth of a Nation?
No, not Birth of a Nation. That's like a Ku Klux Klan movie. This was literally, it was a story of a bank robber. And the machine hardly worked. So the dad said to his son, Jack Warner, he's like, you just spent $1,000 on this thing and it doesn't even work. And he said, go get your money back. And he said, well, the guy told me it usually doesn't work. So he took a huge risk, 30 grand, he spent to get a machine, but he was ahead of the times. And that allowed him to get a little bit of an edge over other people. And so the next thing you know, he creates this movie studio called Warner Brothers. And, it's literally almost the biggest. I mean, Warner Brothers, they're aligned with Universal now, right?
I don't think so.
No?
No. I mean, I could be wrong. I haven't heard
I
that.
thought they merged. Maybe I'm
But The Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises are their top 2
Really?
highest grossing films. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wonder Woman's their 3rd.
They did Wonder Woman
Wow.
That's their 3rd highest grossing film.
of all time. Yeah, because of today's dollars.
You
So
got
the takeaway is go on Twitter. So I told you the Twitter news. Even sometimes it's stupid. The second place to go to is go to Google Trends. So I'm going to go there right now. I like to do this on my podcast. We'll just talk about what's trending in the world. It's a free. Google is basically getting the most data in the world. They're bigger than any social media network, really. I mean, what do you use more? Google or searching on any other platform? YouTube, by the way, is number 2, which is also owned by Google.
I stopped doing Google after they got rid of that guy that wrote the internal memo.
You stopped?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, now I'm using like
Bing?
and or Internet Explorer, Ask Jeeves.
Ask Jeeves.
Ask Jeeves. So the number 1 trend in the United States right now is Rick Piana died. Controversial bodybuilder Rick Piana died at 46. Okay. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of talk about steroids, this. Now, here's something business related. Number 7, Whole Foods. Whole Foods dropping prices on Monday. Amazon says, oh, hey, Kate, you want to be here? Why don't we do this? Why don't you let Kate be here?
Yeah.
And then either come on in. Why does anybody think here that they are dropping, Rich Piana, sorry, not Rick. Rich Piana died, okay? I don't know the guy too much. Hello, Kate is here.
Just got my nails done.
She got her nails done, that's where she was.
They look so good. You like them?
Yes, they made my day. Women don't realize nails are for women. Men never know. Is there any guy on the planet that goes, you know what, I met the girl of my dreams, but her nail color was off?
If I had bad nails, I think you'd notice.
No, I wouldn't.
I really doubt it.
Guy, and if a girl is not attractive, if she's just ugly, no guy's ever been like, you know what, wasn't interested, then I saw the nails.
Hey, look at someone said they're nice. Wait, you guys gotta get a close up. There's like marble. You guys know that new style? Nice. Girls will appreciate
Someone
it.
said, I bet Zach wears crotch charms. What is that?
I don't even know what that means.
What is a crotch charm?
I'll have to Google it. Zach, you wearing crotch charms? I'm gonna Google it.
All right, so let's talk about Whole Foods for a second. So Whole Foods is dropping prices, and I'll tell you why. Jeff Bezos is like Genghis Khan. If you study conquerors in history, this guy is out for blood. So if you saw yesterday, grocery stores Stocks drop every single grocery store the second they announce that, because what Jeff Bezos at Amazon is going to try to do is he is going to undercut even if he loses money. There's an interesting story of Jeff Bezos. He wanted to get in the diaper business. So he went to a company called diaper.com. He said, "I'll buy you." And they're like, "We're not interested in selling." So I told you, he's like Genghis Khan. He came back to them and he said, "Listen, either sell to me or I am going to put you out of business." And they still wouldn't sell. So he took his own diaper brand and he went on Amazon, and let's say a big pack of diapers cost like $70. Okay? That was the cost. Not what they sell it for, the cost. He said, "I'm gonna sell for $30. And so he was losing. His accountants came to Jeff Bezos and said, "Jeff, you're gonna lose $100 million a month if we do this." And he goes, "I don't care." And he went and lost $100 million for a while, but eventually, I can't remember what happened with diapers.com, but they were hurt. And this is the same thing he's doing the grocery thing. He's gonna undercut all these places. He's gonna compete with cheap places. I bet you Whole Foods is gonna become as cheap as whatever, Safeway, Vaughn's, Kroger's, okay? And then once he has full control, then he can raise the price back up. That's interesting. So just remember one quick thing. Note number 3. I think I'm on 1, 2. Takeaway number 3. If you want to make money in general, sometimes you got to lose money to make money. All right? But be careful with that, because principle number 4 for today, if you're taking notes. And by the way, taking notes is how you have a chance at winning. Laptop, you want to hold that, Kate? Or cash, because I'm going to do some questions for those of you listening live. If you're on the podcast, you can watch me live sometime and get a chance to win. So principle number 5 is what Warren Buffett says. And this is interesting. Warren Buffett goes, first rule of business is don't lose money. And the second rule is never forget the first rule. So just so you guys know, the more advanced you get in life, the more contradictory advice you're going to get. And the average person is too stupid to be able to handle that. So the average person, if you tell them Jeff Bezos is losing money to make money in the long run, and that Warren Buffett, who's a little richer than Jeff Bezos, is saying don't lose money, a lot of people are like, "Oh, that doesn't make sense. Everything contradicts." But you have to look, the devil's in the details. So what Warren Buffett is saying is your long-term strategy has to always be profit. And some businesses forget that. There's some, like SoundCloud. We were talking about SoundCloud calling the other day.
They're dying.
They're about to be done.
I thought they were over a few days ago.
Yeah, well, they couldn't. They tried to get emergency loans. So SoundCloud is it's like a place, a little bit like Spotify, but it was a free place to post music. But they never figured out how to make profit. So Amazon, they know how to make money, but to grow an empire, don't forget the power of enticing people in to your product. So a lot of people, for example, one of the things I'm talking about, I'm opening up my social media marketing program with a special for the next week. I'm gonna take everybody who goes into my social media marketing program, and I'm gonna do a live training, live streaming training, which I've never done before. A 2-hour live stream for everybody who gets in. So I'm gonna actually put a link here in a second. I forget what the link is. Let me see. And if you go there, you get access. I've been showing people for the last, okay. Yeah, so you go to tylopez.com/social media. tylopez.com/social media, all one word. If you go there from my podcast and you get in the next week, I'm going to be showing you step by step how I've been showing people how to make $1,000 to $10,000 a month by charging businesses for you to manage their social media for them. Okay? Somebody said social media marketing for $39.99. No, not $39.99. There's people always trying to knock off my program and all that stuff, but I've showed over 25,000 people how to build a social media marketing agency. I pretty much kind of invented that course, and I've got the most content. And like I said, but one of the things that I tell people go, "How do you get your first customers?" I'm like, easy. You give away free samples. It's okay to give away free samples of your work. And what Amazon's doing by lowering the price, it's effectively like a sample. Metal James says SMMA is the best program I've ever purchased. Cool. Oh, dude, I get so many testimonials. I just got somebody. Also, I got this one little WhatsApp group. It's called SMMA Testimonials. It's crazy. People post pictures of their checks here that they're getting. That, just so you know, on this topic, if you want to know the easiest way to make social media, it's not always doing your own social media. It's doing it for other people. So write this down as a trend that I see as one of the biggest trends in the world. I think this is number 7. Number 7 of today's radio podcast tip is money-making idea for everybody. Help old people with technology. Help old people with technology. Entrepreneur Empire here said I made $3,000 my first month in Ty's program. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy the amount of testimonials. So the reason it works, and there's other ways to do this is just one way, is the average business is controlled by somebody who's over 50 years old. In many cases, over 60 years old. So guess what? 60-year-olds, if you know anything about them, are not good with technology. So if you can do their technology for them, because they perceive social media as technology. I mean, my 99-year-old grandma, if you gave her Snapchat, she could not figure out Snap. People, I know 40-year-olds, I know 20-year-olds that can hardly figure out Snapchat. So when you come to them and you go, hey, I'll do it for you, people sign up. But sometimes you got to give them a free sample at the beginning. And that's what Jeff Bezos is doing with Whole Foods. By lowering the price, it's like a free sample, because a lot of people would go, oh, I mean, what did they used to call Whole Foods? Whole paycheck. Mm-hmm. That was like how people made fun of it. They're like, oh, you're going to whole paycheck? Because it was really expensive. Do you shop at Whole Foods, Kate?
No, I do not.
No? Well, you might now. How about you, Zach?
I've gone a couple of times, but it's usually for the fermented stuff
Like
that they have.
Like the.
whiskey?
No, it was a kombucha. I thought it was going to get you liquored up, but
But I eat all your food, so.
Yeah, you eat my foods up from Whole. We also go farmer's market, too.
Yeah.
So I think that that's insight that most people don't have. Lowering your price is very similar to giving free samples. So what's going to happen is now Whole Foods, a whole 50 million people, you mark my words, if he keeps this price low enough, over the next few years, 50 million people are going to go to Whole Foods for the first time. And of course, out of 50 million people, not everybody's going to be a repeat customer, but I guarantee you 30% of them will be. So now he's got 15 million new people that are going every week shopping. And let's say, what's the average? Just do this math. How much do you usually spend when you go to the grocery store? What's a round number? Armin, what do you spend? You're a bachelor. What do you spend as a bachelor?
like 150.
150.
$80 to 100.
So let's say $100. What's 100 times 15 million new people a week? Zach, it's not that hard. No, it's billions.
I was going for it.
Oh, Zach is doing sound
I
effects.
wasn't trying to do the math.
By the way, little side note, for all of you who want to make more money, you have to get good at basic math. So the way to do it is 15 million. You add one more zero to be like 10, right? That's 150 million. And you add one more. And they're going to make billions more if they could get 15 million people spending $100 a week. You know? So
There is a downside, because I do go to Whole Foods sometimes, but it's usually because that's where good-looking girls go shop.
So you go there for the women?
Yeah, but now if he's going to lower the prices, it's going to bring in the dogs. And
Zach has written a letter to Jeff Bezos saying,
Please,
the quality of
please.
women is now going to go down.
Yeah. F you, Jeff. Mess up my grocery shopping.
And why is Zach wearing sunglasses, you might ask?
Because I can't see. Thanks for...
Ella Guacate said, oh my God, stop. And she's still laughing. You got a fan there, Zach. She looks cute too.
Hey now, I bet she shops at Whole Foods.
Someone said, how is that actually working out for you though, Zach?
What, going to Whole Foods?
Yeah. How
Those
sure?
are great. I only talk to good-looking girls. How would it work out for you if all you do?
But
is
you
talk
said
to
you
good-looking
stopped going. Does that mean the women weren't talking back to you?
But I'm saying that's going to be the downside. It's going to attract the dogs.
No, but when I
Because-
originally asked you, I said, "Do you go to Whole Foods?" And you said, "I used to go because of kombucha."
I can't
So
even
what I'm
remember
guessing,
all my jokes.
can't
All my
remember.
jokes are getting-
So you went for kombucha, and you used to be a big fan, and then
Right.
you stopped going. That usually means either you found the love of your life on the first time, or you got depressed because you were getting shot down. Which one?
I'm gonna go with, I don't know. I got shot down. Why
You got
not?
shot down?
Yeah. Why not be self?
What's the worst rejection you ever had?
I would say probably kicked between the legs.
You got kicked in the
When-
nuts?
No, I'm just kidding. It's never been that bad.
I actually did have that one time in high school.
Oh yeah.
This girl got mad. There was like 3 of us talking, and we didn't know she was right around the corner, and she kicked all of us. She was.
Yeah, but
She
yeah, you
ran.
didn't know she was behind you. She like tapped you on the shoulder, and you turn around, and then wham.
Which is
Yeah.
the kick and run.
Yep. No, she didn't have to run because when you get kicked in the nuts, you don't move. You pretty much stay right here. Someone said, "Ty, how Zach is doing, brah? He's a funny dude."
Bra.
Okay. Zach, you have man fans.
Hey now.
Okay.
Fan's
So
a fan.
that's a Google trend thing. Now, one of the things I was gonna say, besides this subject of social media, is that curiosity will make you wealthy too. People aren't curious enough in this life. You should pretty much always. There's an interesting. I read this book and it said, try asking why 3 times to the same thing, and then you'll really find out if someone knows what they're talking about. So, let's just say, Zach, do you like Donald Trump? Yes or no?
Yes.
Why?
Because he's given a big FU to the media.
Why is that important to give a big FU to the media?
Because I am kind of tired my whole life of watching the media portray me as some bigot, sexist, homophobe. Up until
Why has the media?
election,
But why has the media been framing you as? What about you has had you framed as a bigot?
My politics, people that align with me,
Why
my
do?
side,
So you're saying the Democratic, the more liberal media?
is dishonest.
No,
Yes.
but doesn't like more conservative people like you.
Right, they have their narrative.
But
They
why?
write the
What's the
headline and-
core cause? What do they not like about Republicans and conservatives so much that causes them to think of them in the way you're saying?
I don't think there's one answer to that. That's complex. There's a
See,
whole...
there you go. When you ask why enough times, all of us, somebody said Zach is confused.
No, I mean, I'll pick one. I mean, we can get into the whole idea of a worldview and people's worldviews and what brings them to that place. We can talk about people that are a little bit more sensitive versus people that are very aggressive. Have no, what is it? They don't suffer fools well. They're not looking to be nice.
Right.
They're grown up.
So you're saying conservatives are more grown up and not willing, and whereas liberals are more kind and nice.
Yeah.
I
That's
read.
a simplistic way of saying it, but I'm just saying you can keep.
Someone
asking
said
why.
I thought Zach was smarter. That's what Calvin Jean. She didn't like. She's probably not a Republican.
Well, I'm a proud deplorable.
Now, one thing that I read a book. So let's. I'm bouncing around here today onto the podcast. This is a great book. It's called Personality by Daniel Nettle, and I've actually read it kind of more than once. But one of the big reasons that there's differences in people's worldview, like communism or Democrat versus Republican, it's literally genetic. Isn't that crazy? Like it's one thing that you will learn is a lot of stuff is genetic, and we found that out now with modern science. I'll give you an example. Did you know the likelihood of you jumping into a lake to rescue somebody drowning is pretty much genetic? So like, there's a true story of this police officers, and I can't remember the outcome, but they went to trial because they were called. They pulled up to a lake, and a girl goes, my son or my brother is drowning, and neither police officer moved. And so they were basically, and when they were asked, why didn't you go save the guy? They said, we don't know how to swim. and we don't want to risk our life knowing we might drown. And so the interesting thing was, that's genetic. Now, it's not 100% genetic, but there's literal markers in your genes that show you'll have, because you have to be a risk taker basically to do that. So that is genetic. Anger is genetic. Alcoholism is genetic. Not 100% again, but heavily. But also whether you're a Democrat or Republican. Because throughout history, you've had people who are more democratic even before democracy existed. And you've had people who are more conservative. So, by the way, if you want to make more money on social media, you must become a master with psychology. Psychology is huge. I can't remember the outcome. It was a famous case with those police officers. And I think when the girl said her brother's drowning and the police didn't go, she went to try to save him and she drowned too. And that's why they got in extra trouble, because like everybody was drowning. And so
If I was their attorney, I would have said the lake was cursed. That would have been my defense.
You mean for the police
Yeah,
officers?
clearly 2 people went in.
And
Come
none
on.
came out.
Yeah. I know. I think that makes sense. I think you can go look at the voting block and see that people that are more left leaning are kind of dumb and stupid and just not like they don't think things through to their logical conclusion.
So what you're saying
So
is
yeah,
anybody
it's-
who doesn't agree with you is usually stupid.
If they're, yeah, I mean, it's just, it makes sense. Democrats breed Democrats. So stupid breeds stupid. I'm just,
Zach's opinions don't necessarily reflect that. I don't think there's.
I'm just trying to.
What do you guys think? I'm thinking of doing some podcast shows that are like super conversational. I mean, controversial. So, for example, what do you think about just an old school topic, but a very controversial one? Abortion. You get the smartest person on one side of abortion, saying, let's say, anti-abortion, and the smartest person on the pro-choice side.
Right there, there's a great example of a narrative that I've been aware of for 30 years. You didn't say pro-choice, you said anti-abortion. And I have a friend that was a producer at a CBS affiliate back in North Carolina, and their head regional guy
Make
came
you
in
chase.
and told them, said, we will no longer refer to anyone that is
Right.
on that side as pro-choice. They are anti-abortion.
Right.
And everybody, the other people are, pro-life.
Yeah. Yeah, you can
Don't
do it
refer
either
to
way.
them as pro-life. But what I'm saying
Pro-choice,
is
pro-life.
That's a subtle little thing that people may not think about, but that is a narrative that paints a certain side as, they're anti something. So sorry, I was just trying to.
Well, I just saw, like, for example, what country just made abortion? I think it was
Norway. No,
No, and it was also a Central American country just now allowed abortion. There's been zero reason you could have an abortion, even rape or anything like that, which is...
I didn't mean to peel off. I just noticed that you said anti-abortion, not pro-choice.
In Chile, abortion is legal since last week. Yeah, that's it. It's Chile. So I thought that was an interesting thing, that there's some places in the world where it's like... The world is a crazy place. For those of you not traveling, pick one place this year you want to go. Where would you go, Kate, if you snapped your fingers right now, anywhere?
Caribbean.
No, but pick a very specific place. Puerto Rico?
No.
Dominican? Bermuda?
No, actually.
Wherever
I
you want.
I like tropical places, so you could throw me anywhere. I'm not too picky.
All right. Colin, where would you go?
Probably Paris, honestly.
Have you been?
Yeah, I've been. I would go back.
Every time I go to France, the last times I've gone to France, there's been some major shooting. The last 2 times I go, I left the country, and the next day there's like, and that first shooting in France in, what was that, 2014?
Charlie Hebdo, yeah.
Charlie Hebdo, we were staying our hotel was right next to that. I mean, like a half a block.
And then at Cannes,
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and
We
the
were
Cannes
there.
Film Festival
and then right after we left, that dude comes in with the
car mowing everybody down.
Oh, man.
Where would you go, Armin?
Egypt.
Why?
I mean, I don't know that right.
You're like, you should go with Adrian. Adrian's always talking about going to Egypt.
I've never been.
Yes,
I don't
this is
think
right.
the pyramids-
Really? Yeah.
Let's go.
The pyramids used to be power plants.
Power plants. So do you believe in those?
Pyramids
Do
used to be
you think that?
Yeah.
Do you
I read
think
it somewhere. Must be true.
the
Yeah, I'd like to hear
pyramids?
more about that.
So do you think the pyramids were made by aliens?
Oh, man.
Power
I'm not
plants.
gonna rule it out.
So you think there might be aliens? Did you know by the way,
Yeah.
now I'm not going off the
Science
subject. Did you know that that's genetic? The likelihood that you'll believe in like off the wall kind of esoteric stuff is totally genetic. And by the way, that relates back to what we're talking about with being conservative or liberal in politics. It also relates to people who make money, because most entrepreneurs have a gene that's a little more risk-taking. Not risk-taking, but a better word to say is unconventional. Unconventional. So there, in the Hexaco personality test, one of the personality attributes is called openness to experience. And that's made up of 4 subcomponents. So everybody here at this table, on a scale of 1 to 100, is different in the Hexaco score, in terms of open to experience. So what do you think you are, Kate? Open to new experiences. I did your Hexaco. Let me look it up.
I don't know. I'd say I'm pretty open. I'm very
1 to
cautious.
100.
I'm.
But you can't be very cautious
No, but,
and very
like,
open.
I'm very open. I just am smart when it comes to like getting hurt. Like I'm not.
I am very open,
I'm very
yet I'm not
cautious.
open.
I'm just
about how
cautious about
open
getting
I am.
hurt. I don't like to get hurt. But
You're not very open.
Would you ever bungee jump?
I don't know. No, actually, I guess I'm not open. I'm too scared to run.
My
What if it's over water?
my Hexaco score, I'm a 3.8 on openness to new
What
experience.
am I?
I have to look at yours. That's pretty high. I'm above average, but not. I'm in like the top 80, the top 20%. Some people are even more. I've seen like people that that are like hippies, people who are nudists, people who believe in aliens. Trust me, they're usually.
Come on now.
Yeah. So
we have to come back to that topic.
my inquisitiveness, I'm a 4.5, which is super high. Because openness experience is 5 components. Aesthetic appreciation, like art. Do you like art? Inquisitiveness is like asking why over. Creativity, I got really high. Just being able to solve problems. That's really what creativity is. And then unconventionality, I got 4.5, which is crazy high. In fact, of all the personality attributes that I'm the highest, it's liveliness, social boldness, inquisitiveness, and unconventionality. And then altruism is like your ability to give to charity. I got above average to that. I'm not the highest, but I'm above average. It's called Hexaco, like the gas station Texaco, but you can do Hexaco. Ethereum predictions. People always asking about things like Bitcoin, stuff like that. I've said this before. Some people are going to get rich and a lot of people will get poor. It's a zero-sum game. Just remember, be very careful. This is money making tip number 8 for today's podcast. I'm marking these down. Be careful with zero-sum games. So here's the definition of a zero-sum game. You bet on Floyd Mayweather, okay, or Conor McGregor. Just remember, you're betting against somebody. So somebody always wins, and the money for the winner comes from the loser. So that's a zero-sum game. If you do commodities like or you do day trading on the stock market, most of the stock market is zero-sum games. The reason you're making money day trading is you're buying a stock for $10, reselling it for $11, right? So this guy who pays $11, then it goes down, he loses money and you made money. You sold it to him too high and you bought it too low. So those are games of cunning, and that's why I like being an entrepreneur. That's why I like making money with social media and starting businesses, because that no one's losing. Like Elon Musk created Tesla, which is an electric car company. And yes, Ford Motors has lost a little bit of their market share, but overall, for every dollar Tesla makes, Ford doesn't lose $1. So a lot of these things that are sold on an exchange, whether it's stock market, whether it's commodities, whether it's options of Forex kind of stuff, currency options, or in this case, there's new stuff, Bitcoin, like online currencies, right? What you're basically saying is, I'm smarter than everybody else. And be very careful, because most people underestimate how intelligent they are. Let me just say this for each of you right here. If you're smart, answer this question with no calculator. What's the square root of 69,342? Okay, if you can answer that without a whatchamacallit, a calculator, in the next 30 seconds, you're a very intelligent person. Now, some people say, Zach, were you doing a sound effect?
I was going to.
What were you doing? But I'm just saying, people always say, oh, I'm so smart. And I'm like, okay, prove it. Somebody said 78. That's definitely not the square root of 63. What did I say, 63,000?
69,000.
It's
But
definitely...
there were a lot of other numbers after it. So
Yeah.
that made it very
Well, you
confusing.
roughly can know what it is. The square root of 63 is roughly like 8 something, right? 8 times 8?
Yeah, square root of 64 is 8.
It's roughly 8.
69 is 8 something, right?
Yeah.
Drake. Never mind.
Is that what he says? That's a Drake line?
No, what is it?
Drake says the square root of 69
It's
is...
8 something.
He said that?
Yeah, in the song.
Holy
So
crap,
he's
I didn't
smart.
even know that. Me and Drake are on the same wavelength. Somebody said 250. Nope. No. And...
I was thinking since it's
Well, here's another
69
test.
is 8, would it be 8,000 or is it?
Yeah.
Oh, 8,000.
It'd be a little less than 8,000. But here's another one.
That's what I was.
If you want to tell if you're intelligent, I'll tell you a story. My step grandfather. So he's not blood related to me, unfortunately, because that means I'd be smarter if he was my blood relative. But he was a chess master. So to be a chess master, his ranking was like 2,300. 2,400, you become what's called a senior master. 2,450. I've got a teacher that's a senior master, and then you have grandmaster. I think grandmaster is above 2,500 or something in rating. The average person's rating is like an 800. So here's a good test. You can just try this with checkers, because chess, not everyone knows how to play chess, but everyone knows how to play checkers. Try to play 3 of your friends where you put your back to the board and they can watch the board, and you have to call out the moves. So you go, move the back piece. If you can play 3 full games while keeping track without looking, then you're very intelligent. And not many people could. My step grandpa could play 3 chess masters blindfolded. You don't really go blindfold. You just turn the other way. He spoke 14 languages, like Chinese and Finnish and Arabic and all that. So just remember, one of the most important things, and this is principle number 9, don't overestimate your intelligence. Most of the time when I meet a smart person, I just know one thing about them. They go, I'm Ty, I'm smart. Most of the time I know all that tells me about them, the fact that they think they're smart, is that they hang out with dumb people. That's the simplest way to think you're smart. You just hang out with people less intelligent. It's not like you meet people who go, hey Ty, I'm really smart. And I'm like, oh really? Like, who do you hang out with? Like, oh, I hang out with Stephen Hawking. And like, you will be humbled by this life. And when you go, interesting thing about social media, there's a lot of dumb people in the world, but there's something called collective intelligence. And collective intelligence is one form of artificial intelligence. And the global mind is shown. That's why I said, if you look at Twitter trends, you're basically seeing what millions of people, or in this case of Twitter, hundreds of millions of people, think is important. Someone said, Furio.17 on Instagram said, Ty, everyone is intelligent beings. Not really. That's like saying everybody's blonde. Like, not everybody's blonde. There's a specific definition of what blonde is. Blonde is, a light hair color. And you could argue whether it's strawberry blonde or this. But with intelligence, people say, oh, what is intelligence? The real answer is speed of solving problems. That's generally what we mean by the word intelligence. So it's impossible for everybody to be intelligent, just like it's impossible for everybody to be short or fat or tall. No one would say, if you go, oh, that person's tall, you wouldn't go, Ty, we're all tall. No, the definition of tall means you're above the norm of height. And when it comes to intelligence, when you say that person is intelligent, so the reason I was going to say that, and why I'm talking about this for a while, someone said everyone is intelligent in their own way. Maybe. That's not totally true. For example, a baby, when you're born, all of us our IQ in terms of what we're operating on is very low. It's like 50 or something IQ. And there's some dogs, like border collie dogs, which are the smartest dogs. I used to have some border collies that have IQs like 60 or 70. I knew a border collie dog. I was on this farm a long time ago, and this border collie comes in the house, and the farmer goes, we had to go outside, and I don't know, he was a dairy farm, so he had to milk cows. So he said to the dog, just in a normal voice, he's like, let's go get the cows. And so the dog just took off running out the door, and then he goes, just kidding. And the dog just turned back. It was like a human. I think the top dog ever, there was a dog named Wystan Cap. It's considered the smartest dog of all time. You can Google him. Wystan, he was from Wales in England. And he had an IQ of something like a 6-year-old human.
Right. I had one growing up. I would always catch him reading. I mean, they were picture books, but
Don't want to
come
sit to
home.
Zach. He had opposable thumbs too.
No, I just use the tongue to flip the page.
But do you think that you could say that everyone or most people are intelligent in different facets or in different ways?
I don't think you should call it.
Emotional intelligence?
No, I don't. I think you call that someone else. You call that empathy. That's one thing I agree with Zach. This world has become so weak-willed that we're like afraid to say anybody's good at anything. You know, you're like, oh, if we say intelligent, then these other people get their. Let's just say everybody's intelligent. Let's get.
It's that trophy generation.
Yeah.
Everybody gets a trophy for participating.
Yeah, forget that. Not everybody gets a trophy. One of the things that you can do is, if you're not super intelligent in terms of book intelligence, you could still live just as good a life or better than other people who are high IQ is not correlated, by the way, with happiness. It's not even correlated with wealth, by the way. There's a great book. All right, tip number 10 today. I'm gonna start doing this in the podcast. How many? Then we can put the number 19 things.
Yeah.
Tip number
134
10.
things.
Read the book called The Millionaire Next Door. And there's a follow-up called The Millionaire Mind or something. But read the first one, The Millionaire Next Door. And the average... What was that?
Not bad.
Oh, I thought that was Zach's bad sound effects. Are you listening to audiobooks, Armin?
Yeah.
Got a little board over here. So I
This is so entertaining. My podcast is so entertaining. My guests are listening to audiobooks.
Trend stacking.
Yeah.
Multitasking.
Yes. Anyway, but I don't think we have to say everybody's intelligent, Colin.
Yeah.
I just think you could say, hey, you're good at basketball. I mean, you know, some people are good at basketball. Look, James Harden just got a contract for $235 million. Look it up, Armin. Armin's a sports guy. So, and actually, I met James Harden. He was over here at my house 3 weeks ago. And he is an intelligent guy. But my point is, even if he wasn't intelligent, which he is, but if he wasn't, he still made a contract for $250 million.
228 million.
All right, sorry, not 230. He only made lousy 228 million. Yeah, well, I think he's made almost 500 million bucks. So let's go on to one of the subjects we were talking about in the beginning of this podcast, which is Floyd Mayweather and Conor McGregor. They're not necessarily chess masters, right? They don't need to say, oh, I'm a genius. But Floyd Mayweather is certainly a genius in a lot of things. And another thing, cunning is very powerful. So if you're not super intelligent, you can become street smart. And that's another word that I use a more accurate word is cunning. So I think that those don't always go together. I know some smart people that aren't cunning at all, so they're idiots. Somebody's still doing the math on that question. Somebody said 8.5 over round odd. What the heck? I don't know what you're doing. This guy's just making up numbers. Someone said the smile of this woman. My God. Wesley is your fan, Kate.
Thanks, Leslie. You
Wesley.
Oh,
like a
Wes.
guy.
Thanks, Wesley.
Zach said Floyd Mayweather is very methodical in the way he fights. So this fight is going to be $500 million is the estimate. So Floyd will probably make $300-400 and Conor will probably make 100 plus.
Can I be the note taker?
You want? Yeah, but okay. Yeah, but don't mark it as a note until we're on point number 10. Point number 10. So just remember, for all of you who think you suffer a little bit, maybe you're not as intelligent as somebody in school, cunning will get you very far. And
So you think cunning is a good?
I think it depends.
Good
There's
quality.
ethical cunning and there's non-ethical.
So what do you call sneaky? Is sneaky cunning?
No. Sneaky is worse. Sneaky is Machiavellian.
Oh, so I've been.
So that's the bad version of cunning.
Yes. I would say the good version is street smart. Cunning. So I'll give you an example. Here's an example.
Are you talking about like when people have an acorn under cups?
And they try
They shift it around.
like a
That's
street
very-
vendor.
Very cunning of you to trick me with the little cup trick.
Why do
there.
you say acorns? I'm sure
I
in
was
New
trying to
York
think
they
of-
don't put acorns under it.
Well, I was trying to think of a nut, and I just didn't want to
They
say
don't
the word
put
nut.
nuts under there.
What do they put?
Yeah, what do they call
A ball? Nut ball?
A
What?
nut ball?
Well, what are they like? Isn't it usually
it? Yeah, what did they put?
like a ping pong ball or something?
No.
Yeah, there
I
you
think
go.
it's a ball.
Ping pong.
Adrian, you're
Ping pong
cunning.
ball.
Is that what you cunning people do? Is put the ball?
Adrian, why did you dilate your pupils when he said that? Somebody said, love your videos. Those are money moves. What's a point? All right, let's take a few questions from the live
I'm sorry, I
audience.
interrupted. You were going to give an example.
You ruined it, as usual. Metal James K from YouTube said, Ty, what point from which book has stayed with you the most for all these years? Okay, I got an answer for that. I need to promote a water because I want to have a water that I promote on my podcast as a sponsor. This is not.
Make sure it's one that doesn't make you. What did Alex say?
What?
That makes the frogs gay.
What Alex Jones says?
Frogs
Certain
gay.
tap water makes
Yeah.
people gay.
Or frogs or something.
I do not know what Alex Jones. If you've never seen Alex Jones, he's a podcast.
He's a loon.
He has some interesting theories. He says tap water is turning people gay. And did you
And
see?
they're doing it on purpose.
But did you see
thinks
when
they're
he
putting it in.
ranted? He got super mad. Did you see that one? Oh
You gotta
man.
be more specific with Alex.
No, about the frogs.
Oh.
He goes, people say I'm biased. He goes, I just don't want to be freaking turned gay. You haven't seen that? It's funny,
He's
man.
worried. Does that keep him up at night thinking about?
He thinks you could be turned.
Somebody said Alex Jones is alt-right.
that.
Agua 67. There you go. Agua 67. That's a cool name. Somebody said, F you, Alex Jones. Well, we're not. I'm not. Anyway. Bruce drank Fiji water. Who's Bruce?
Bruce Jenner.
Oh, Bruce Jenner. I'm no comment.
This is going in a dangerous direction.
I don't think water has much to do with who people like. I'm pretty sure that is the worst scientific theory in history.
One thing that's never happened is me taking a swig of water and going, "That dude looks good."
You haven't been. No, there's no water
It's
turn
never
on.
happened. No.
All right, here. I forgot to Snapchat real quick. Let me snap here. We're live on the new podcast room. We're all set up. We're streaming here. You can watch the podcast later if you don't want to watch live, but it's kind of cool. Let me put this here. My new podcast room. Oh, shit. Man, oh, by the way, good news. I got verified on Snapchat today. So, I don't know what that means to translate
Celebrate.
it. Just seems cool, even though I don't think it's that cool. It's like, what does that actually do for me? Because the
You get a book
verification.
next to your name.
Yeah, I got the book. The only thing that I'm happy is that whatever icon people take, you can't use again. And so I was like, I want the damn Snapchat book. And I was hoping nobody else got verified before me who wanted a book. But what is Kylie Jenner has a crown. A crown. Pull up some other.
Did you get a
Kendall
book?
has the
Gary
little
Vee? Yeah, I got
Angel baby.
I got the book.
Um,
Who's an angel?
Kendall Jenner.
Kendall Jenner.
I want the stripper.
You want a stripper?
Yeah, I want the stripper.
There's no
Logo.
stripper emoji.
Kim is the peach booty.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's funny. Okay, the question was, before I was interrupted by Zach, was a book that stuck with me, and I actually read an article about this on the flight home. Somebody saying, why do we still believe in Sigmund Freud? Because Sigmund Freud's the founder of modern psychology. And I think they're totally wrong. He was very important, and people who think he wasn't are usually people who have never read what he said. But one thing about Sigmund Freud people don't realize, he was huge on cocaine. He was really into prescribing cocaine to people. And he at one point, he said cocaine is the miracle drug. This was like in the I think it was 1920s or so. But he used it so much, he actually had nose problems. I mean, like his nose collapsed or something from... And but he got other people, like famous people, got addicted to cocaine. So I guess on that cocaine side of things, it's he wasn't the most cutting edge. He was cutting edge though. Just imagine how many people were using cocaine in the early 1920s. Everybody heard the theory that Coca-Cola
they
literally used to put cocaine in.
Facts.
Is that a fact?
I think so.
Look up one of those Mythbusters.
This is coming from a man that believes in aliens.
Those are
Come on now,
Those
aliens
are
are a
facts,
thing.
I
So
should
we-
say
alien
aliens.
math is entry.
Somebody said now they want to get their Mensa membership. Somebody said, what is Kate writing down?
It's a secret.
Okay, other question. Lance Allen, do you think selling on Amazon is saturated? No. I'll tell you why. For those of you who want to learn to drop ship, you want to do e-commerce, the market is getting bigger. Every day, more and more people start buying basically everything online. There's still, Colin, what percentage of your stuff do you buy from a store? You and your wife?
Including groceries.
Yeah.
Probably 60%.
How much has that changed in the last 3 years?
Oh, yeah. It was probably like 90, 95% the last. Did you say 6 years?
Yeah. So
6 years. I don't know if I bought anything online 6 years ago.
yeah, so just think the last 6 years is this massive change. Kate, you still go to this? I know you go to the store.
Yes, I do.
Do you buy?
I like to get out of the house
do you-
and.
Do you buy clothes online?
Not really. I like to go. Actually, I don't know. I do sometimes. I don't know. I don't really.
What
go
do you
shopping
buy
as much
online?
as I'd like to.
What do you buy online?
Dresses. I don't know.
I thought you were gonna say drugs.
Drugs.
Speaking of drugs, there was cocaine in Coke
Really?
until 1903.
Until 1903, Coca-Cola. Hey, talk about marketing techniques.
Wow.
You make people. They talk about addictive viral
Is
marketing.
it legal?
Back then?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah,
cocaine
cocaine.
wasn't illegal.
Yeah.
Pesky government stepping
Zach
in.
is
Yeah,
actually
right.
Zach's big political lobby. He wants to go back to. It's called the go back to before 1903. His party, the 1902 party.
Yeah, my platform is there are some things that are good and some things that are bad. And I know what they are, so just listen to me.
I thought it was gonna say, okay, all right, that's his. That's not a very catchy.
That's the
I just
slogan.
made it
I
up.
felt like you were about to
can
say
chant
something
that.
funny, and then you got stuck halfway. He goes.
Hey, even people that strike out 7 out of 10 times make it to the Hall of Fame. So I'm not worried about taking a swing and missing.
Okay. That's a very interesting story. Who is the winner? Ty. This is causing. Isn't caffeine just as addictive as cocaine? No.
No.
Cocaine. If you ask a
Side
brain
effects not
scientist,
quite as bad.
cocaine basically is something that passes the blood-brain barrier. So your brain has a protective shield around it. Most things don't cross the blood-brain barrier, and a few things do. And cocaine is one of them. And that's why cocaine makes people, I think heroin does too, which makes it even more addictive. I just read the book, speaking of books, called Killing Pablo. It's the actual book by Mark, what's his name? The guy who did Black Hawk Down. Mark Bowden. It's the actual story of Pablo freaking Escobar. That they made the show Narcos about it. And I'll tell you some takeaways. Talk about street smart. Pablo Escobar was very street smart. At his peak, he was probably making, they don't know, but about $500 million cash a month. possibly $1 billion a month. They had he spent $2,000 a month on rubber bands for the cash. One time he got cold when he was running from the police, and he burned $1 million in a fireplace for the night to keep him and his wife warm. That's that's called FU money. When you go, no, not 500 billion per month, Antonio. No, no, that would be the GDP of Colombia in 1 month. No, it was close to over $500 million a month. But he made billions per year, but not 500 billion. That's too much. I gotta reset Instagram.
Okay.
And
There you go.
It'll be in a second. Just kidding.
that question was asked about what's the biggest takeaway, and you went on to Freud, but then we.
Oh, there we go. Thank you, Zach, for bringing it. So, let me go live back here. Here we go. Instagram. What's up, Instagram? Kate's back. We're talking about Pablo Escobar, cocaine, how much money he made, my favorite book title, and takeaway. So the best book ever written about, like self-help books. People like self-help. People like 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. People like Who Moved My Cheese. What's your favorite? What's your favorite?
Me?
Think and Grow Rich. No, Colin.
My
But you
favorite?
can go.
Oh,
Kate,
sorry,
what's yours?
I didn't know. You're
Kate,
like,
what's yours? You've been reading one. Tell them about it.
I've been reading a few. I
The
kind
ones
of like to hop back and forth.
The Focus one is the one you like.
Yeah, right now.
I like that you go, I've been hopping back and forth. But my favorite is a book on focus.
No, I'm honestly trying to bump up my focus and attentiveness. So it's kind of ironic, honestly, but yeah.
What's the name of it?
It's called Focus. It's by, is it Daniel something?
I don't know.
Danielson?
No, not Danielson. I'll remember the guy's name. But it's a famous book called Focus by a scientist. What's your favorite self-help book before I give mine?
The self-help book. Probably my favorite is the E-Myth Revisited, I think.
Okay.
That one was
Michael Gerber.
Yeah.
He
The most,
wrote
practical.
He wrote a couple books.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one about systematizing your business. And
Yeah. Well, I knew a lot of small business owners growing up, and at the time that I was reading it too, and it just, so much of it made so much sense for the mindset towards.
Right.
Are you a practitioner? You go at things from a practitioner mindset, or the more managerial mindset and looking at ways of systematizing what you're doing. A lot of people start off what they're doing because they're good at it, and actually being good at it almost holds them back, because then they can't give away control over what they're doing.
Yep.
So kind of focusing on systematizing things, giving away control, and focusing on the larger structure. I just thought it was super practical. I think that's probably my favorite. I don't know that self-help is very businessy,
Yeah, it's a little more business than self-help. What's yours, Harmon? Favorite improvement book that improves you as a human?
4 Hour Work Week. Probably.
You like Tim Ferriss?
Yeah.
That was a good book. Tim Ferriss is a smart guy. Zach, what's yours?
I'm going to go with the ancient text of Proverbs.
Okay.
The book of Proverbs. I'd say that's probably the best self-help book.
That is a good one. He's talking about the Bible, of course.
You got to get wise.
Wisdom, it says, is better than money. And that's probably true, because wisdom creates money. So Solomon was supposed to be the wisest man in the world and one of the wealthiest. Although I've always said he had, I think, 1,000 wives.
That's very wise.
I don't know if that's too wise. That sounds like a big headache.
As long as they don't open their mouths and ask you how your day was.
1,000 times.
Why have you been here for 999 nights?
Somebody said, wait, Zach's not in a costume? Jason Goldberg said, Mentor Box is a stellar idea. For all of you, check out Mentor Box. It's a company I co-founded with a guy named Alex. It's like the Netflix of books. So if you go to tylopez.com/box, it'll take you there. tylopez.com/box. Can you make sure that works? I'm pretty sure it is. The book that I like is Civilization and Its Discontents by Sigmund Freud, which was written in the early 1900s, and it's basically...
Is this pre-cocaine or...
This is during the cocaine years. The Pablo Escobar,
Cocaine
Sigmund
years.
Freud. Unlikely business partners. Sigmund Freud and Pablo Escobar.
Now that's a miniseries.
That would be good.
I'd watch it.
That's too far from you, Zach, the mic.
What?
So Sigmund Freud basically says there's 8 things that make people happy, and none of them in and of themselves will make you happy. You know how people say love is all you need to be happy? He disputes that.
That's not right.
But he does say love is the most powerful of all of them. The thing that'll make you the happiest as a human, without a doubt, is falling in love. What will make you the least happy, and this is why he said it's not the best. He goes, in fact, I'll read you. It's one of my favorite quotes. And he talks about the problem with love. He said, if there was no downside to love, it's by far the best way. Like, he's talking about romantic love too, by the way. So the number one way that humans get elated. Now, drugs are relatively powerful, but let's take drugs out of it because that's an artificial high. Here we go. He says, it's a very smart book, a small book. You really only need to read the 2nd or 3rd chapter. Chapter 2. It's about 20 pages. So he says, this is my iBooks, page 30. Perhaps it really comes nearer to this goal than any other method, the goal of being happy. He said, I'm speaking, of course, of that way of life which makes love the center of all things and anticipates all happiness from loving and being loved. This attitude is familiar enough to all of us. One of the forms in which love manifests itself, sexual love, gives us our most intense experience of an overwhelming pleasurable sensation, and so furnishes a prototype for our strivings after happiness. He basically says sex is a prototype to understand love, because if you think about sex, you're not continually having an orgasm, right? So you have it and then you strive for it again. And he says, he goes, what is more natural than we should persist in seeking happiness along the path by which we first encountered it? So he said your first moments in life where you feel happy is like where your mom hugs you, or you're part of your family. That's love, and that's with people, right? And so he says that's something we continue to pursue throughout life. But he goes, the weak side of this way of living, going after romantic love, is clearly evident. And were it not for this, no human being would have ever thought of abandoning this path to happiness in favor of any other. So he said, if it didn't have a weakness, love would be the best way. But he says, we are never so defenseless against suffering as when we love, never so forlornly unhappy as when we have lost our love object or its love. If anybody here goes on a brain scanner when you break up with somebody, the parts of your brain that are the pain centers that will be activated when you are in love, or having your heart broken, I should say. They're the same ones that are like when you break your arm. It's interesting. It's like the same, it's like your brain that's why some people, if you see people like, let's say they're super in love with somebody and the other person doesn't love you back, that's the number one pain. Is when you love somebody, they like you for a while and they just look you in the eyes and go, nah, not interested. Like, dude, the first girl I ever dated, that's the only girl that's ever made me cry. And that's exactly what she said. Her name was Alexandra. I had bought a new car and I was like, come see it. And she sat down and she goes, I'm in love with my roommate, Jimmy. I was like, what? And I was sad. And that was the most sad. So what I love about this book, going back to the original question, is remember this, and this is principle number, what number are we on?
12. Oh, wait.
We're on 11.
Yeah, 11.
Number 11. Almost everything you've heard about life is wrong. So this book will prove that. Like, everything you hear about the subject of being happy is BS. Trust me. Even almost every book. I mean, I know some of the great books on happiness. There's a guy named Martin Seligman is a very famous scientist at the University, I think, of Pennsylvania. He's probably, there's another guy named Jonathan Haidt. I've read all those guys' books. In fact, Jonathan Haidt, I've talked to about this, and I was like, I didn't want to offend anybody, but I'm like, but Sigmund Freud's 5 pages on happiness is still better than anything scientists have written ever in anything I've ever read. And it's because Sigmund, maybe it was the cocaine. He's just like very
He was like high on.
No, he's very blunt. He doesn't, because a lot of advice you hear is BS and overly optimistic, and in your brain, in the back of your mind, you want to believe it, but you know it's probably BS. Almost everything that you listen to in life. So, yeah.
Wait,
Okay.
what'd you say? Almost everything you've heard about what?
Almost everything you've heard in life is wrong.
Oh.
So this will be principle number 12. If you want to make more money, if you want to be happier, all these things, if you want to make more money on social media, I talked about a few things already. Being more curious, blah, blah, blah. But one of the other things that you have to do is you have to seek out, and in my 67 Steps program, which I actually have closed right now. I had it open for a few years, and about 150,000 people went through this online program that I built called the 67 Steps. It's interesting. It's like bigger than a university. More people have gone through that program online than most universities. Not Harvard, but even most schools have 10,000 students. In 30 years, I went in 1 year or 2 years more than these schools have in 30 years. So I got to see a large sample size of what people's results were, and it was very powerful for people. And one of the principles in there is go straight to the top. So write that down. That's number 12. Go straight to the top. Whenever you're trying to learn something, we were even talking, Colin and I were talking today about how the techniques to grow your podcast. And we were talking about top podcasters, but I was like, you know what? Why even look at podcasters? There's people, the biggest audience are radio people. The biggest. So you don't really want to learn from other podcasters, because you can just apply what works on radio is definitely going to work on podcasts for the most part, 90% of it. And the biggest, Francisco said, 67 Steps was the best program I ever bought. Cool. So Sigmund Freud is a giant of thought. And one of the things people do wrong with reading, and it's very easy to do, I call it shiny object syndrome. If you go to Barnes & Noble or you go to Amazon, the first books that come up on the page on Amazon on the homepage, or that are right there by the front door at Barnes & Noble, those are not the books you want to buy. Trust me. They're trying to sell you something that's new, because most people fall for the trap of thinking that new is good. But Freud's still smarter than all these guys. And he didn't have the benefit of modern science. I'm telling you, if you read Sigmund Freud, you will realize this man is a genius of epic proportion.
Someone said Pablo
Escobar.
Escobar sitting at the end of the table.
Sam!
That is the best. That is the best.
You
freaking
do. I
comment.
never thought of that before.
Oh my god.
Sam, we were talking about Pablo Escobar, and someone just said, Ty, do you got Pablo Escobar sitting in there? Do you get that sometimes, Sam?
Once before, yeah.
Say it with a Spanish accent.
We had a special guest star on our podcast.
Sam said C.
I'm going to put special guest on my podcast, Pablo Escobar.
He's like listening as we speak about him.
Pablo Escobar's favorite technique for people who did him wrong was to hang them upside down, drop them a few times, and then set them on fire. So
Sounds fun.
he was a nice guy.
What was the point of dropping them a few times?
Pain, torture. They would skin people alive. He wanted people to know that he was serious. So one
You
time,
couldn't just say, "Hey guys, I'm serious." Seriously, guys.
yeah, that doesn't work in the
I would shoot
mobster
him in
world.
the
Right.
knee.
He declares
Like that.
everything.
Tell him.
He wears a shirt that says "I mean business."
Send out an email and tell them I'm serious.
No, he had a guy who stole one of his butlers stole from him, and it was a big party. Imagine being at this party. It's like a child. I don't know if it was one of his children's birthday party, but there was everybody there. He took the guy, had him tied tied up, feet, legs, hands, put him right at the end of the pool, and Pablo goes, "Everybody, stop!" Everyone turned around, and he just kicked the guy in the back. The guy fell in the pool, but his hands were tied, and the guy just slowly went to the bottom and drowned.
No one saved him?
Nope.
And this is
Yeah,
a little kid's
what would
birthday
you-
party?
This was just a party. Imagine, I need to spice up my parties more.
Hey, we should stage that at the next one.
Let's
We'll
not
put like a little
stage
breathing,
that. Something goes wrong. You don't want. Do you want to be the one under? We'll throw you in the pool
I'll
with
do
a
it.
breathing act. Look, Zach's so real. Looks like
Do it.
Zach, as he falls in the pool, he yells, "Ah!" and it falls out of his mouth. My breathing apparatus. Yeah, Pablo
You should have like a
Escobar.
safety button though, just in case.
Yeah.
Well, I would swim back up. I mean, I would walk to the shallow end.
I was gonna say, how deep was this
I wouldn't
pool?
commit.
Exactly.
I wouldn't commit to just.
Whose phone is that?
Oh, that's nice.
Something said, "Damn, Zach taking no chances." Would you consider books as mentors, Ty? Yes, I would. They're a form. They're not a perfect one.
Read them.
Alejandro Blanco says, Ty, you talk about how much money you have and make. Well, show us proof, release your tax returns. Alejandro, first of all, I ain't running for president, so I don't have to disclose. Second of all, I never say I have all this money. People have all these theories. If you Google, it's like Ty Lopez net worth. There's all these websites. I've seen $3 million.
I think it says 7 million.
I've seen it's up to 7. I've seen one that says $100 million.
You're worth 7 million. That's pretty good.
Yeah, but that's just a website. You can just make a website. People make up. No, 7 million is not the right number. 3 million is not the right number.
More like 2, maybe.
You think?
I think so. I think it's like 2.5 now.
Why do you think that? We gotta stop for a second, Kate. Why? How can you possibly have come up with what you think my net worth is?
How'd you do the math?
Internet.
Yeah, internet. It just shows you the
I'm
internet.
just kidding.
No, it's
I'm playing along.
people. But it's good if a woman that's around you thinks your net worth is low. Always go with it. That's very important. If a girl's like, Zach, I've been going out with you for a year, and I just Googled you, and you have no money, that's a good sign, because that means she ain't with you for the money. So you should always make a website about yourself and say your net worth is $3,000.
I put it in my Wikipedia
Yeah.
I
page.
wish my net worth was Thursday.
Kate's trying to get hers up to 3,000. Is that what you just said?
Yeah.
Kate, you got more than 3,000. Somebody said she sounds kind.
I am kind thing. Well, I don't want to agree to that because that's not very kind, I don't think.
Why? You can be kind.
Not unkind.
Zach's face.
I don't follow that. It's not very
I don't know.
kind to
I don't think it's
acknowledge you're
You're
kind.
not supposed to.
I don't think that's like arrogant.
Well, I don't want to. Yeah, I don't want to sound arrogant. That's what.
You're a lover of truth, and the truth is you're kind.
I'm a truth
Embrace it.
lover.
I think a kind person would embrace that.
Yeah.
Okay, never mind. I'm kind. Thank
Or
you.
they would say that's so kind of you. To
Somebody said 5.7 million. Oh, there's so many
Yeah,
websites.
that's it.
Ty has coin, don't worry, Max says.
What's your
Okay.
favorite
Ty has
color,
coin.
Ty?
I
Someone
got
wants to
coin.
know.
What's my favorite
Someone
one?
wants to know what's your favorite color.
My favorite color?
Is it like dark
Blue.
blue?
Blue.
Yeah, it's like a dark.
That Rolls Royce I got,
Royal
that's the
blue.
best color. That dark blue, it's called, not ambrosia. It's something like that. It's a rare color, that car I have. In fact, I think it's the only one in America. The only Rolls Royce with that color. Not 100% sure, but it's definitely.
We'll go with that.
The guy next to Zach looks like George Lopez.
Come on now. What?
Have you gotten that before?
No. Well, no, I don't think
You
so.
do. Wait. Pull up. Kate, pull up George
I want to be
Lopez.
a lookalike.
Somebody said I look like the guy from Trailer Park Boys or something like that.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I can see that.
No, the Pablo Escobar is one of the greatest things anyone's ever
By
said.
far.
That was accurate.
You're too.
George Lopez, I don't know about that.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah, I'm not
No
seeing
way,
it.
Jose.
I'm not seeing it.
You
What
guys
is it?
see anyone in me?
It's the hair.
Kate always wants to be somebody. She's like, what about me?
What about me? Don't leave me out, guys.
Halle Berry.
No.
Oh,
I'm
yeah, I
a
can
little
see
too
it
white
right
to
there,
be
right
her.
there.
No, you do not look like maybe a white young George Lopez.
Oh, you wait a sec. You look a little bit like George Lopez.
There is. Yeah, there's.
What?
But that's an old looking version.
I don't know. I'm not.
Let me
seeing
look
it.
up young George
I'm not
Lopez.
that dark, really. Kind of ghostly white.
All right, we'll keep this podcast going here, Colin. We've kind of gotten.
It's all right. I'm cutting all this out.
You
No,
don't.
keep this. People like Kate's giggle.
I'm editing it down mostly to me.
It'll be a
We have 2-minute podcast
2 minute
here. All Colin.
Yeah.
Ty liked me so much, it was all about me.
Ty's entire podcast is him asking me a question.
I'm in San Diego.
Oh, sorry. I was listening to a voice memo. Okay, let's go back to, what number are we on?
Oh, we're
13 or
on
12?
13.
So let's talk about making money with social media. We were talking about psychology, curiosity. We were talking about using Twitter trends, which is super good, using Google trends. Another practical way to make money with social media. And I was talking about how you can you don't need a huge following to make money on Instagram, even with 10,000 followers, which is totally doable for anybody watching or listening. You could probably make, if you were good, you could probably easily make $2,500 a month from your own social media following, specifically if the followers were around a niche. So one of the things that you got to do is pick one, because if you try to have followers, 10,000 followers, and they're not united in what they're following you for, then it's hard to make money. So if some of them are following you and they don't know why they're following you, and some of them are following you and they're 15 and some are 50, become a homogenous group of social media followers is much more powerful.
So in your bio.
Are you showing the Pablo Escobar?
Adrian sent it to me.
Oh my god.
Sam, we got to put that picture up.
Please make that your
not
WhatsApp.
Yeah.
Please make that your WhatsApp.
Crazy.
Wow.
Kate would make a great Laura Croft, someone said.
I don't know. I feel like
Now, here's the number. Number 13, how to make money, more money in your life, from social media or not. Win the lottery. Somebody just won 2 days ago roughly $750 million. I think the one-time payout, if she takes it all as one, is $400 million.
I think the lottery's bad luck though.
Well, the odds were 1 in 250 million that you would win.
I think
So my friend said, well, damn, you just buy 250 million tickets for $1 each.
Yeah.
But he forgot one thing. People put the same number down. So sometimes you could literally buy 250 million tickets and not win. It's not exactly like that. It's a nasty game to win. But question for you. Would you take 750 million paid over time or 400 million up front?
depends how old you are.
Would you right now, okay?
Over time, for sure.
You would? What? Look it up. Look up how much. Armin, look it up. How much was it if you took the
I think it
payout?
was 432.
You know, one of the most Googled things in the world is, guess what? Lottery. It's amazing how many people want to make money by doing nothing. So this is point number 14. Why I bring up the lottery, or 13. No, I already did 13.
Yeah, the lottery. I have to write it.
Okay. So the point number 13 is the good news for you wanting to make money with social media or otherwise is most people are not going to work for it. They're going to just try to rely on luck. So just the fact that you're trying to do something gives you a competitive edge. Isn't that crazy? Like literally, when Warren Buffett came out of college, he thought it would be hard to be an investor. He said, because there'd be so many smart people out there. And he said his biggest surprise after years and years is like, wait, where's all the good people? It's not like the lottery, which is luck and you're competing with the whole world. When you make the decision to take action, some of you, I've been talking about my social media marketing agency. I'm doing a special thing till this Thursday if you get in, where I'll be guiding you personally through a live call, 2-hour live call, plus you get 4 months worth of videos teaching you step by step how to build a social media marketing agency, how to get small businesses around you to pay you $1 to $10 grand a month. So far, the top student, the most exceptional student in the whole program, is making $115,000 a month, and he's 22 now. And then I think number 2 is a guy named Jose. He's making about $65,000 a month. He does social media for political parties in South America. He's always like sending me pictures, cool ones.
What does the top guy do?
Social media marketing agency,
Like
and he
what
works
is-
with doctors, primarily with doctors, and he helps doctors grow their businesses by doing their Instagram, making brand videos, all these things I taught him. He got in the first day I opened it 8 months ago. So these people are getting these results without actually being, with not no live calls from me guiding them. If you want all that they have plus this live call, you got a week. So go to tylopez.com/social media. You got to go to that special link or else you won't get the live call. tylopez.com/social media. But whether it's you making money on social media or anything, I'm telling you, the power of just starting something is very underestimated. In fact, most of the people that you'll be around in life, they will die with 100 things they never did. Literally, 100 things. So you want to keep the list of things. One of the good rules is try everything once. Somebody wrote me on my Twitter, I retweeted it, and he said, by the way, Daniel just said, "Time in your SMMA course, it's amazing. What do you think of of credit unions as a niche? Going to banks, doing their social media, for sure. Any niche like that's great." But going back to what I was saying before, I'll try anything once. Somebody said to me, "Yo, Ty, should I do Amazon drop shipping? Should I do social media? Should I do?" And I'm like, you need to go through life with a very short checklist of things you haven't done. At least once. That's the key thing. At least, you don't have to do them twice. Some people go their whole life going, what if I had learned salsa dancing? What if I had, dropped out of college? What if I had gone to college? Do both. Go to college and drop out of college, and then figure out which one got you the results that you liked. That's literally something to do. People are always, that's one of the most common, if you look at the common thread of questions that I get asked, it's generally something like this or that. Ty, social media, somebody just asked me, should I do it for banks or credit unions? Should I do it for this? And my answer is, I'll do almost anything once, but a lot of things I don't do twice. So I look out there. If I had to start all over again, I would just become a machine of experimentation. In fact, I'm launching a company, or I already launched it out of San Francisco, and the whole business model of this company is an incubator. And what me and my business partner Alex do is there's a full-time team just testing ideas. Like right now we're working on supplements. So I'm testing every supplement idea. We're testing brain pill, muscle builder pill, sleep pill, focus pill, cocaine pill for Zach. No, not cocaine pill. We're bringing back the 1902 Coca-Cola. Well, that's what we're gonna call it, 1902 Coca-Cola. So yeah, get older with a very short list. That's, I guess, what I'm trying to say to you. So that was principle number 14. Mm-hmm. Go to your grave with the list of what you consider doing very short. So people go, should you do network marketing, Ty? I'm like, everybody should do network marketing once. I did it once. I can't remember which one I did. I think it wasn't Herbalife. Somebody talked me into doing one of those MLM things, and I did it once, and it wasn't that bad. It wasn't that good. It was just neutral. So I'm like, okay. So now when people come to me and go, Ty, what do you think of this? I've done real estate investing. It worked out decently, so I keep doing it. I've launched social media businesses, worked out well, kept doing it. And it's important that you have a double list. You have to have a list of no's and yeses. Someone says, does Ty support Black Lives Matter? That is a very off-subject question. He's saying you're still in it, Andy.
Yeah, you're. Oh,
Zach's brother is looming in the background. Honestly, Black Lives Matter, I don't know. I hardly know anything about it. So the principle that people's lives matter, I will go for. I don't know much about it. But somebody said handsomeness matters. Zach, you have a fan, I think. Denise. Zach, don't look that creepy. Zach had
He's
a fan.
He's memorizing the name, the at name, so you can add her later.
Okay, let's talk about, I'm going to speed, I've got questions for you guys. Let's go here to, we talked about Google Trends. I want to go to Entrepreneur Magazine. And I want to talk about there's an app, Entrepreneur Magazine. I'm not paid to mention this, but I'm a paid person. To their app, Entrepreneur app. So, this is something interesting. I remember I told you about Curiosity. When you go into their app, it says powered by MAZ. Powered by Maz. So I got to figure out what that is. I don't know. It sounds like it's a company that consolidates ideas for people. All right. So the current article that I was interested in on Entrepreneur. Hold on, let me find it. All right. It's called Why I Turned Down Millions of Dollars and Dismantled My Company by Matt Simaglia. Okay, so this guy had a company that was making millions of dollars. Here's my general question for you. If you were making $1 million a year profit right now, and you realized you did not like the business anymore, you didn't even, maybe you thought it was unethical, what's some major problem with it? Would you have the guts to shut it down very quickly? $1 million, you're getting $80,000 a month. Kate, be honest. Oh, this is also an honesty test.
It was unethical.
But not horrible. Like Apple, some people say Apple's unethical because child labor, people are going blind putting together your iPhone. The reason your iPhone is under $1,000, even though I saw the new one is going to be over $1,000, but it's not 10 grand, is because you got labor putting that together at some level. So a lot of business is exploitative if you really go deep down.
Well, I would compensate and
give money to charity.
give some money away, make myself feel a little better.
So how much you'd give, like $100 grand away, make $1 million a month?
I would strive to give away 10%. I think that's important to.
God, you're greedy. That is greedy. Why to keep $900,000 for yourself?
Well,
I'm just kidding. I don't.
Don't listen to
I
Zach.
think the 10% rule is just very important. If I had that much money, though, I'd probably give away more. I just honestly can't even fathom that amount. But
Colin, would you shut the business down? You've got a consulting business, you do podcast consulting.
But no, I wouldn't
What's
shut
your
it down.
website?
Castmedia.com with a K.
Cass Media, if you want to check out. It's a good guy.
Yeah.
Now, if Cass Media, you just realized you hated podcasts,
Okay.
how would you deal with it? And let's say you were making $1 million a year. Would you shut it down?
So in this hypothetical situation, it's not immoral. I'm just not into it anymore.
Yeah, let's take that. We did the
All right.
immoral one with Kate.
All right.
And she's like, I'll just pay a tithe to God.
Take care of the conscience.
Take the blood money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I can sleep.
That's me. Just kidding.
I would definitely. It would matter how much I had stashed away, right? And I would keep it going until I had, I don't know. If it was 80, I would keep it going for a solid 3 months, and then I'd shut it down because that's enough to.
So
get
once you
something
had
awesome off the
250
ground.
grand saved up.
Yep.
80
Because
grand.
I think 250 is enough to get back to that $1 million a year within a year's time.
But just to play devil's advocate, if you stay with it for 3 months, why not stay with it for 12 months, and then you'd have $1 million.
Because it's not about the money, it's about the potential of the money. So, but that is about that level. That's about that range of investment where I feel like I could get back to that level with something I liked quickly. So that's the investment I would need. If I looked at the market and I was like, you know what, like this area that I want to go into, I'm gonna need more money. Well, maybe I would stick it out a little longer.
You'd go a little bit longer. Pablo Escobar, by the way, he never really wanted to be a drug lord. Like later on, he tried to pretend. He became a congressman.
Yeah.
But he also
We're all looking
he
for
literally
something.
went. You should read the book Killing Pablo. Don't just see the Narcos thing. The show's good, but you should really read the book. And he would go through and get all his records of criminal stuff and get them burned and stuff like that. In fact, one of the biggest things in Colombian history people don't realize is their main government office got raided by, you could call them terrorists, you could call them freedom fighters, whatever. And the Colombian Special Forces went in and they did not do a good job. 100 people that were innocent hostages got killed. So which reminds me, Adrian, a movie that needs to be made. I always, by the way, we have a friend that I've given some ideas for movies from books in history. One of the other big raid like that, besides the Colombian one that went bad, have you ever read about the raid in Russia? Where these, I think it was Chechen terrorists, took like 200 people captive in a building. And then, dude, Stalin and those, I'm not Stalin, Putin.
Oh, yeah.
He was just like, go get him out. And they just went and blazed. Like, in America, if like 3 people die from a hostage situation, it's like a failure. Some countries don't consider lives so valuable. Like in Colombia, 100 people were shot for them. I'm like, how many people did they free? There was only like 150 people. They're like, all right, one way to free is kill you all. But anyway, I don't know why I was saying that. But it's an interesting little note here about ethics. Armin, would you shut the business down?
So I'm assuming I liked it at one point, right?
You did, but you don't anymore, and
So
it's
clearly
kind of
something's broke.
and it's kind of shady.
No. Wait. Whoa. Wait. That wasn't.
Would you shut Apple down?
Yeah, would you shut Apple down because you think that they're doing child labor? Would you stop even if it may?
Really? Okay. I find a way around it. There's got to be a way around it. So you'll make a little less money, but there's got to be an ethical
But you have
way.
shareholders, so if you own Apple
You get
and
into a hard problem.
you're the CEO, and you say we're going to make a little less profit, now guess what happens to CEOs that make a little less profit? The board, you get voted
Yeah,
off.
if you're
The
a
board
CEO,
gets
you
rid
don't
of you.
really have that much power.
Exactly. The shareholders do. Which is you know how, have you ever heard people say like corporations are bad and stuff like that? Like, what was Occupy Wall Street? The only problem I had with that group of people is they hadn't really thought it through. Because most of those people own 401ks and IRAs, and most of those people had money in the bank. And when you do that, that money gets put in corporations. So basically, the people that say they hate corporations, most of them were actively making money from them. Anyway, Zach, what would you do?
I'd keep it going because the fact of the matter is, on this planet, somebody has to be that 6-year-old girl assembling the phone.
Kids
And I don't want it to be me.
Kids need jobs.
Somebody's going to have
Kids need jobs too. That's what Colin.
That's a very kind way to look at it, Kate.
No, that's what he said.
Oh, that's what Colin said.
All right.
No, I said
I was gonna say, I don't think I said that.
He's like, I don't think I said
I'll take it though.
Someone said Ed Sheeran.
That's right. Yeah, that's me.
And I get George Lopez. Okay.
I still haven't mine yet.
Okay.
I was gonna say.
We're gonna get to 19 principles. We're on 15.
We're on 15.
So let's talk about a book that I read that is very interesting. I read the actual book. It's called Execution, and it's not about killing people. It's not about Pablo Escobar. It's about how to do stuff. And what do you think? Let me just ask you a quick survey of just the people watching live. What's the biggest problem in people's lives? Is it not having good ideas or not doing the ideas that they already know they should do? Thank you, Zach. What do we have? Somebody said not doing, procrastination, not doing. So does everybody here think they have great ideas, but they just procrastinate? What is everybody's reason? Honesty, what's the reason? We're surveying 10,000 people, 20,000 people watching live right now. What is the reason you're not, let's say, making $1 million? Is it because you don't know the idea that would make you $1 million, or you don't know how to execute on that idea? Someone said fear of failure. Someone said they don't have money to start. Someone said I'm only 14. Yeah, but Bill Gates started at 12. I'm scared of losing all my green. I don't have an idea. Both.
Someone said excuses.
Not necessarily great ideas. Everyone has the same opportunity. So it looks like execution is one of the biggest problems. Although it's interesting. Startup money is a big one. You can start almost any business for under $100 in my experience. Name one business. I can tell you how to start it for under $100. At least get the idea rolling. Get some momentum.
Fitness.
Oh, that one's easy.
Fitness clothing.
Fitness clothing?
Or
Well, just remember, you can drop ship and sell other people's clothing. Nasty Gal was a huge brand, still is. I think it's bankrupt now, but that's for other reasons. That's for actually execution reasons. The brand's strong, and basically, they didn't sell their own clothes. So you could be a reseller where you drop ship. That doesn't cost you any money. You get the sale first, so you get the money. Someone buys a shirt for $100, then you take that $100 you get from them and you buy a shirt and ship it to them for $40. So then you pocket the $60 money. What else? Video game industry. You could become a video game blogger for under $100. You can form a YouTube channel. You can make a YouTube channel. PewDiePie is making $7 million a year, basically, primarily around video game videos. Rap game. Definitely don't need more than $100 to start rapping. Now with modern sound equipment, you can either record your first, an iPhone's got good quality stuff. Obviously, it won't get you a Grammy, but you can get started. So, Bitcoin. You can become a Bitcoin consultant. You could write a blog about Bitcoin, get people reading your blog, and you could do a Bitcoin conference where you sell tickets. You get 3 speakers that are experts on Bitcoin in your area. You charge people $100. 100 people show up. You make $10,000, and you pay the speakers $1,000 or less. A lot of times speakers will do it for free, especially in something like Bitcoin. And then you pay the hotel $1,000, so you got $9,000. Reddit advertising, is it real? Don't know
It's
that
real.
one. Yeah?
Oh yeah.
Do you advertise on Reddit?
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Right?
Breaking
Good cost
news.
per click.
Breaking NBA news.
Isaiah Thomas hip injury reportedly could void the trade. What?
Dun dun dun.
For all you sports fans, there's big controversy because Kyrie Irving was traded to the Celtics for Jay Crowder and Isaiah Thomas. I want Kyrie to come to Los Angeles. Maybe we can get him. We should trade. Who would we trade? DeAndre Jordan?
Griffin.
Oh, you're talking about the Clippers.
Blake Griffin for Kyrie. Who would you rather have, Isaiah Thomas or Blake Griffin?
What about
If you're
the
the
Lakers?
clap.
Can anybody trade it? Or would you ship anybody from the Lakers?
Everybody's untouchable.
No, I would trade anybody on the Lakers for Kyrie.
On the ball?
Yeah.
No.
Bird in the hand's better than 2 in the bush, if you know what that saying is. Meaning, a proven player is always more valuable than a not proven player. Someone said, that chick is fine. They're talking about you again, Sam. Oh, Sam's gone. Where did Sam go? Sam has a cocaine deal. He's on a small plane to Colombia. You know Pablo Escobar had his own submarine.
Really?
That was kind of cool. What would you do with your own submarine? Would you actually use it? I feel like a small submarine is not something I'm ever going to go in.
If you ever get nuked, get in the submarine.
Does the water,
before.
does water,
Before that.
Yeah.
if there's
Wait
nuclear
till that
fallout
happens.
and you're underneath the ocean,
I think you're good.
I guess radioactivity, can radioactivity penetrate through water?
Siri.
Probably can, right?
Zach is trying to Siri this.
Siri, can radioactivity?
Don't they claim that the fish in the Pacific Ocean has...
Yeah, over time, yeah, from the
Penetrate water.
the nuclear Fukushima or whatever.
The sweet water. What?
I think that the problem is when you're in a submarine, you got to come up for air. But I bet you the cleanest air in the world that I've ever been around is go in the middle of the ocean. There is no pollution out there. Or you go far up north. Well, I shouldn't say there's a lot less. It's a lot less. Even if you go to the ocean, man, the closer you get to the beach, the purer the air. Here in LA, you go out and you go on East LA, it's nasty, But
It says gamma rays travel like any other electromagnetic wave, cutting fairly straight line through the world. They can move through a vacuum, through air, or water. They can also cut through light elements like aluminum or most metals.
okay, so basically, we're all screwed if there's nuclear
There's no
fallout.
escape as it turns out.
Lead cuts down on it, but it doesn't stop it.
Okay. All right, let's
So
keep
a
talking.
bunker's no good then? a nuclear bunker is not going to help you.
Yeah, no, nuclear bunkers are built with special fortification. Okay, a little quiz. There is a slight chance there will be a nuclear event in some major country in the next few years, or in the next few decades, I should say. I think Warren Buffett, who owns an insurance company, Geico, and a reinsurance company, he says by the year 2050, they're betting on it, that there'll be a nuclear bomb exploded in the United States. So that's the next 32 years. Just in the U.S., because most of his insurance deals are in the U.S. So my question to you is, do you think there's any downside of building a nuclear fallout shelter in your house or near your house? Colin, would you do it?
How much does it cost?
Does it work? You're sure it works?
Yeah, well, there's some it's better than being melted.
Can you
So
give
the
me
value is better than the.
I was gonna say, can you give me Warren Buffett's percentage again? What was that percentage?
By 2050, it says it's a 100% chance.
Oh, well, I guess, dang, how much does it cost again?
I think
Okay,
you can
yeah,
build them
probably,
you
right?
can build them for a few grand.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
You would
I'm gonna do that. I'm ordering it on my phone right now.
you doing one?
Amazon.
Yeah.
Amazon. I guarantee. Look on Amazon. I bet you they have a fallout shelter. And you know it's funny. People forget history. If you you know JFK. I just read this book about JFK, and people don't realize how close the United States was a few times to nuclear fallout. In fact, at one point in Russia, this is the craziest story. This was during the Cold War, whatever, 30 years ago or something. One of the Russian military bases in Siberia said they went on high alert, and they said America has launched nuclear missiles at us, because their radar was showing a missile coming at them over Siberia. And so the general that was there in the command center, the Russian general, he was like, wait, let's just wait a second. And they had like under 2 minutes to launch before the American hit. And he was like, literally, they had turned the keys and all that. All he had to do was push it. And it turned out it was a weather balloon that had gotten out. And that's one time. If you think this is so far-fetched that America or another country could have a nuclear holocaust, look what happened in Europe right now. Europe, you've had what? Now you got Barcelona. So France has been attacked by terrorism. England was attacked. Now Spain again. They had that train incident. Now in Barcelona, which is a beautiful city I've been to, they had that disaster. And then you have obviously 9/11. I'm gonna say 911. My head says. But so the question is, and this goes back to this concept of execution. If we know, Colin, that it's not a bad idea to be able to protect your family with a fallout center or a fallout shelter, why don't we do it? Like, what is it in humans that makes us procrastinate so much?
Yeah. I don't think anyone in their mind thinks it's that 100%, you know? Nobody thinks it's actually 100%. I did look them up. The cheapest one that I feel comfortable with
You already can feel
is
this.
about $5,700.
Really? Why are you
And
comfortable
it
with
wasn't
that?
on Amazon. Amazon doesn't have it.
Well, actually, I Googled it, and I did get an Amazon link show up.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I just got books like how to prepare.
Yeah, I got the books too, but then I
Okay,
switched
well.
from the app and I Googled it,
Ah.
and I found this one for $5,700. Not sure how large it is, but I don't think anyone really thinks it's 100%.
Okay. Well, one of the things in this book, you should read this book. It's called Execution by Larry Bossidy. That's a very interesting name. Not Cassidy, Bossidy.
I got it.
You out?
Yeah, I got it.
And Ram Charan. These are famous guys. And it's called Execution. So I thought I would... So it's the discipline of getting things done. So this would apply to anything. This would apply to how do you get it done to build a bomb shelter? How do you get it done to launch your own business? How do you get it done to make money with social media? How do you get out of bed and work out every day and not procrastinate? And here's what he says. This is pretty interesting. He says there's two things basically that we all have to know, right? Let me pull it up here. So here is what he says are the building blocks of a leader. So at some level, whether it's a family or just you being the leader of your own life, you have to be a leader. So know your people and your business, number 1. Number 2, insist on realism. Number 3, set clear goals and priorities. 4, follow through. 5, reward the doers. 6, expand people's capabilities. 7, know yourself. So this is an interesting, you see this twice, know yourself and know your people. But I think that most of us are dishonest with ourselves at some point. And that's what I was talking about at the very beginning, where I was talking about the optimism that people have and the over-optimism. And so if you, for example, know that you're a very fearful person, because a lot of people are fearful, but yet you still try to go do something on your own, I feel like you're setting yourself up for failure. Because if you know you're a fearful person, the best advice that I can give you is become a business partner with somebody who's like the opposite of you, like a little bit crazy and has low fear. Okay? Because you can do both and be successful, meaning you can be fearful and be successful. There's some people famous for being paranoid. And then there's some people that are just like, I never was afraid the day in my life of doing a business or trying something new. But what you have to do is merge those two people into one group. And that's why I'm so big on business partners. For the most part, to make money, you have to have a business partner. Most of the time. There's exceptions to the rule. I've done some businesses on my own. Some billionaires did it on their own, but a lot of business partners. I mean, Bill Gates, if you look at the Forbes list, Bill Gates, number 1, he had Paul Allen. And then when Paul Allen got cancer at age 30 and retired, you had Steve Ballmer came in as the replacement. And then number 2, richest man in the world is Warren Buffett. Well, he's been business partners for almost 60 years with Charlie Munger. Okay, and you can just keep going through the list. There, like I said, there's some exceptions to the rule, but look at the guys who started Google, Larry and Sergey. And, the Uber guy, even Travis, the guy who's in the news a lot right now, who started Uber, which is now worth $70 billion, the app, the car app, he had some co-founders. They're just not in the news that much. So one of the things that I recommend, I guess this will be number 16 on today's podcast. Number 16 is partner on your weaknesses. Again, examine. Remember I talked earlier, you got to ask yourself why 5 times. So you ask yourself why. Why do I not go to the gym? Or why am I not reading? Or why am I not starting this business that I think is such a good idea? And usually you'll find an underlying symptom. So I've seen it be in myself. Sometimes it's fear. Sometimes it's too many things on my plate. Like some people juggle too much, right? Sometimes it's over optimism. So some people, for example, aren't going to build a nuclear shelter because they're overly optimistic that the world's always perfect and, that's not going to happen. Number 4, another reason is people are overly pessimistic. I can't tell you how it amazes me how many people still go, Ty, is your social media marketing program a scam? I'm like, well, I understand the first week it came out, people are like, it's new, and they're like, what is this? But now we've had 25,000 people go in it. We've had immense amounts of success stories. Just thank you for that. Thank you, Adrian. And people are still skeptical. That's an overly pessimistic person. So if you were, because of your life experience, your parents, your mom, you're a cynic, you should business partner up with somebody who is an optimist, and you'll balance each other out. And that happens a lot. Warren Buffett is an optimist and Charlie Munger is a pessimist. He always sees the bad. Warren Buffett always sees the good. And guess what? They've launched 75 businesses and they've never lost money. That's a good track record. Or they've never lost, they've never really lost money. Maybe here and there, but their company now makes $200 billion a year. That's a good number. They're making about $15 billion a month.
Not bad.
They make about 500 million bucks a day.
500 million a day.
How would you like? I mean, their businesses. They own 100% or partial holdings in a lot of companies like Coca-Cola, Dairy Queen, Amex, Bank of America. So yeah, those combined. Nathan Montoya goes, "That's an outrageous number." Yes, it is.
Correct.
Those dudes know how to make money, but yet they still need to partner up. And so I'm always surprised when I meet people and I'm like, wait a second, let me get this straight. You don't have any track record of success in business, but you think you can do it all yourself. I'm like, why do you think you can do it all yourself when Warren Buffett, who has 160 IQ, still has to, have a partner? So partner on your weaknesses. If you want to execute and stop procrastinating, you just can't get rid of some of your weaknesses. It's just, no matter what, is just there. It's a little bit like fighting in your weight class, that's like being a realist. If Conor McGregor said he can beat a heavyweight, I would bet against Conor McGregor. Imagine Conor McGregor versus Mike Tyson in his prime in boxing. I don't care what kind of gloves you put on, that is going to not end well for Conor McGregor, because Conor McGregor is 155 pounds and Mike Tyson was about 210 of solid muscle, maybe 220. And so one of the things going beyond, partnering on your weakness, this is number 17.
Okay. Here, we're gonna
Oh,
salad.
what are you bringing?
You want salad?
I don't know if I can eat while I do this.
You always do.
What?
You always do.
Yeah, but I don't know about eating a salad.
Why not?
Why don't you bring it?
And I brought some more stuff for everyone else.
Oh, okay. Well, this is going to become a loud podcast.
I'm gonna turn this into a food review podcast.
Okay, well.
Is this for me? Is this
yeah.
chicken?
Uh-huh.
Why is it yellow?
It's seasoned.
Oh, man. Who's making that noise? Oh, is that the sound machine? Adrian found a sound noise maker, so that's not really me. Somebody said, don't masticate on Instagram. Fancy word for masticate is a fancy word for chew. Ty, I've got 10 grand and I make 40,000 passively a day. How are you making 40 grand a day passively? That's $1.2 million. You got to give more details. Dude, you better keep her. She's taking great care of you.
Thanks.
Kate has her fans here.
I tried.
So execution is a combination of partnering on your weaknesses, and then number 17, being realistic. And this goes together. Actually, I should reverse the order. It should really be 16 is be realistic on your weaknesses and your strength. Okay? Being realistic, strengths, weaknesses. And then 17 is then you partner on those weaknesses. And here's the cool thing. Your strengths will make you not only valuable to yourself, but there'll be somebody out there that realizes that's a weakness of theirs. They'll give you more opportunities to partner. Like the more I've learned that I'm good at psychology, that I'm good at marketing, actually the more opportunities have opened up. I don't even have to say I'm good at execution. Like I don't like operations that much of a business. I have an office and I never even go into my office. I have, thank you for that sound effect, Adrian. It had nothing to do with this.
I'm confused.
But I just know that that's not my thing, so I don't do it at all, Someone said, is this the dude with the nice car in the garage? Ty, you're the only man I know that knows his stuff. Ty, what happens if I'm introverted? What do you suggest? Well, hate you all so much! Well, you should follow this point number 17 and 16, or 16 and 17. So be realistic. If you're an introvert, you might be, just to be clear, introverts are not always bad socially. Being bad socially is more a function of something called neuroticism. That's what makes people hyper shy. But in general, if you're an introvert, you're not going to be the best at front-facing businesses, I call it. Like, you're not, if you're an introvert, you probably don't want to. It's not that you couldn't, but you won't want to be a traveling salesman speaking to groups and speaking to 100 strangers a day. Like, that's, you could do it, but by being realistic, you're like, you know what? I'm gonna burn out very quickly. And so if you are an introvert, I got good news for you. It's easy to find extroverts in the world. Extroverts are the easiest to find because they're everywhere. Every party you go to, if they didn't get dragged along, they're probably a freaking introvert. What are you, Colin?
When I took the test, I was barely extroverted, like 55%.
On which test did you take? 60.
The ENFJ.
Myers-Briggs?
Yeah, the Myers-Briggs.
Kate, she gets extrovert. What'd you
I
get,
thought
Sam?
I was an introvert.
ENFJ.
You're on the border. Yeah, Sam, Pablo Escobar gets extrovert. And what do you get, Armin?
INTP.
You're an I?
I'm
an introvert.
Yeah, there's some good websites that you can take, you know.
I was gonna say, all right, do you think that those like personality tests are the best way to dig into that and hexacode to dig into and kind of like get that self-realization so you know the kind of partner you need to be looking for?
I'm gonna reset this and then I'll answer that. Here we go. Of course, Instagram makes no sense. What's up, Instagram? Was just asked, do I think taking personality tests is a good idea to learn your strengths and weaknesses? And the answer is absolutely. Here's why. They're free online, so there's no downside if they don't work. Number two, the science has evolved so much on personality tests that I'm telling you, you can hardly go wrong on taking personality tests. I will tell you though, Myers-Briggs is not a complete evaluation of your personality. So I wouldn't, what did you get? What letters did you get, Colin?
I think I got ENFJ. I forget exactly what they all stand for.
And you got INT?
INTP.
Okay.
I think I'm an ENTP, but you say I'm not.
Kate is both. Kate is a little bit.
I'm like, once I meet you, I'm very introverted.
But that's what you're very extroverted.
No, when I meet someone, I'm so shy. I'm like awkward.
Yeah, at the beginning.
Like, when
But
you-
then later on, I'm like so annoying. You can't shut me up. So.
But that's what introverts are. All introverts speak. Actually, the best way to think about introverts, if you want to know the real science, is introverts are motivated by internal rewards and internal goals. It's actually a brain structure that's different. Extroverts are rewarded by novelty. If you go to a new party, like, oh, there's new people there, you get rewards. Introverts don't get that. If you're an introvert, this is how you'll know. If you're like, ooh, I'm gonna meet 50 new people today. If that makes you excited, you're definitely an extrovert. If you're like, oh, 50 new people and I gotta go through small talk. And
That's me.
What? You don't want to meet 50 new people.
No, I know. I'm like, ugh. What do I say? I'm awkward.
My cousin Maya, though, she got on the test 100% extrovert.
Oh wow.
Yeah, definitely.
So Maya's like, I see her. Another guy, I'm a business partner with a guy that owns Swanwick sleep glasses. They're blue blocker glasses. If you go to tylopez.com/sleep, you'll see the glasses that I wear at night. Helps you sleep better. You should get them. I wear them and travel with them. I'm not just saying that because I own part of the company. I was wearing them before. Part of the reason I own the company, I always do it the other way. I find what I'm already using, and then I try to get into that business. You know? Someone said, Ty, is that Band-Aid in your arm over your heroin scars? I don't have tracks in my arms. Usually heroin addicts have them all the way up and down their arm. But I probably wouldn't go on a podcast right now on live streaming if I had heroin issues. A lot of people got heroin issues nowadays. That stuff's rough. So my cousin Maya, though, gets hyped when there's like people. And James Swanwick, oh my God, if you go, dude, we're about to go to a house party and we got meet 50 new people. He's like, all right, you know. So I think that I think that's one of the biggest things to know. In Myers-Briggs test, the most powerful is probably extroversion versus introversion. That explains more differences in humans than anything. And it's about 50-50, just so you know. About 50% of the planet is... What are you laughing at?
Someone said, why do you keep Kate hungry? I honestly just eat a lot.
Why do I keep Kate hungry?
Because apparently I'm like eating all the time on the podcast.
I do not keep Kate hungry. George Lopez and Pablo Escobar in the back. That is killing me. You do look, I never thought of that. You look like you
A young white George Lopez, for sure.
You look like George Lopez. Oh, man.
And then you with your blue blockers, your...
Oh, yeah, people think I look like
Tony
Iron Man
Stark.
when I wear... Tony Stark when I wear the blue blocker, because he wears them.
Blue blocker?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
You wear Swannies?
What do you get, Colin? You look like a skater.
Oh,
Tony Hawk.
really?
No,
The
Tony,
hair maybe?
you don't look like Tony Hawk.
A young Tony Hawk?
I don't know. Before I changed my hair, I got James Franco. I don't know
Really?
if
Do you go close into that?
after the hair though.
No?
Yeah.
That killed your
I
James.
can kind
I
of
think
see
so.
it, yeah, but your hair.
James Franco was you know something? I'm gonna read you guys something about James Franco. Talking about execution. If you ever feel like you're accomplishing a lot, just go read about James Franco. So here, if you go, just go to his Wikipedia. It's insane all the stuff that he's done. I'll give you an example.
Oh yeah, you do.
You
A
think?
goofy smile.
It's the eyes.
So here's some of the stuff. It's nuts, all the stuff that he does at the same time. I'll just name a few things. First of all, he's gone to these universities: UCLA, Columbia, New York University, Berkeley College, Warren Wilson College, Yale University, and Rhode Island. He went and got 2 degrees. He got one like Yale and Rhode Island at the same time while doing 3 movies. He produced... Wait, where's this thing? It's crazy. He was named as the face of the Gucci men's fragrance line.
Wow.
His short films as director. Huh?
Gucky. Remember the commercial where he keeps mispronouncing it?
No. Gucky?
Gucky, but Gucky, you can't get it right.
Oh.
You gotta YouTube it.
Since 2012, he's also a lecturer at UCLA, teaching classes in the School of Theater, Film, and Television. He announced the release of his band Daddy's first single. So he has a band. He has a star on the Hollywood Walk. He was the featured roastee on the next Comedy Central. He wrote an article for the New York Times in support of the meta-modernist performance art of Shia LaBeouf. In April, the literary publisher Grey Wolf Press issued his first collection of poetry called Directing Herbert White. And now he's teaching an 8-part film class to high school students. Dude, he has, I'm telling you, of any human that I've ever read about right now that's active, this dude has no problem executing. Seth Rogen, how many movies has he? I FaceTimed Seth Rogen not too long ago. It was pretty funny. Seth Rogen was high the whole time. He was like, hi. That was funny. But we have to add that in. He makes time to smoke weed with Seth Rogen.
Someone said Ryan
Yeah.
Seacrest.
Oh, I've gotten that too. Ryan Seacrest.
So he's always on the go, you know? And I think that one of the things, and this is point number 18, be careful who you compare yourself to. One of the biggest mistakes that we make is comparing to people that are too low level. Compare yourself, or compare your activity level, not yourself, with somebody who does a lot. Because the reason that a lot of people are self-satisfied is because they're comparing themselves to very low levels of activity, very low levels of accomplishment, you know? Someone says, that is the genius of Cristiano Ronaldo. Okay. Someone said Jay Franco doesn't smoke weed often at all. Okay. What Seth Rogen does. Kate, strike a pose, someone asked. But, you know, comparison, like you should have a list of people. I have a list in my goals list where I literally have like 5 or 6 people that I want to be a blend of. And some people say, oh, forget that. You should just want to be, you got to be totally yourself. That's BS. No one's totally themselves. You're a product of your environment. You're a product of your parents. You're a product of your genetics. No one's born a complete blank slate. How'd you learn English? It was learned behavior, right? And it's the same thing. How you learn who you want to become, it's a combination of your natural strengths and who you naturally are, but nobody is as unique as they think. They're not. Under a microscope, especially at the DNA level, we're hardly different than monkeys, So Ty, how do I get to become a millionaire with social media? Good. We're going to do that as one of the last points. Well, we've been talking about it a little bit. But I have a list of people that I kind of go, I would like to be a little bit of all of those people. What's yours? If you could be a combination, Colin, of a few amazing people, who would they be? Armin, Kate, Pablo. See?
I think I'd like the understanding of like humans and human like nature.
Yep.
Of Steve Jobs, and I think I want the.
Wait. You think he was empathetic?
No, I think he understood humans. I think he
Okay.
understood
I think
what
it was
humans
the acid.
wanted. It had to help, right? No, but I think that I think he was an asshole to that seems it seems like he was, but I think that he understood user behavior, and so instead of creating the coolest tech, he created the most usable tech. He created the tech that interacts with humans the best. So I guess user behavior. I don't think he was empathetic at all.
Yeah, I was gonna say he is not an empathetic dude.
Yeah.
Who would you want to be, Kate? Combination.
Well,
Oh.
a little bit of Beyonce.
You want to be Beyonce? What
Yeah.
part of Beyonce? All
I
women want to
think
be.
it was so cool, like just to be able to get out on stage like that and be able to perform, like even dance wise. I feel like I've always wanted to be a performer, but I'm not a good performer, so like that's why I want to be one. But
Okay.
that's just one little piece.
Who's the other one?
Piece of me. I don't know. Go to him. Let me think.
See, the point is, you should know this off the tip of your tongue.
I know. I suck.
Let's see here. I think I would go with Albert Einstein, his curiosity,
All right.
and then Kobe Bryant's work ethic.
Okay. So that would be an interesting combo.
Right?
You'd be athletic and smart.
I didn't say athletics, work ethic, but I guess athletic too.
So would you want your mom to be like one of Kobe Bryant's family, and your dad to be one of Einstein's, and you're like the merged cyborg of both of those?
I like it. Yeah.
Well, that's actually a good way to think about it. Who here has on the live? Who would you want to be a combination? Somebody said they want to be a combination of Ty Lopez, Gary Vee, and Conor McGregor. Someone said a little of Ty, a little bit of Bill Gates, and a little Barack Obama. You don't have to put me in this, by the way. I'm not.
People are sucking up.
Rich
over there.
Piana, somebody said. Somebody
People wanna
said
be in.
Batman. That's it. That's not a combination. They go, I'd like to be a combination
he's got
of
two people.
Batman.
That's true. He's got.
No, he is
alter
one
ego.
person. Elon Musk, Dr. Dre, and Michael Jordan.
So I was actually
I
gonna
like
say
that.
Elon on the other side of Steve Jobs, right? So Elon's like audacity / analytical mind, I think, but more like audacity to just do things.
Ooh, Michelle Obama. I think she's very inspirational. She gives back to the community. She's very intelligent. She's
Michelle
Yeah.
Obama, okay. Not Hillary Clinton?
no, not well. I don't know. No, not Hillary Clinton. Actually, I do know. She's. I would have voted for her. I actually didn't vote. I should have. But
Somebody
I'm
said
the reason Donald Trump is the president. I'm part of the reason.
someone said the Pope and Larry Flint. Interesting. Yeah. I love you, sir, someone says. Now, whenever somebody on social media, just a little tip, when they say sir, that means they're from India.
Or
Indi-
they're younger than
No.
you and they have respect for you.
Nope.
Nobody does that.
100%.
I say
Elders.
sir.
I've never.
On social media, when someone says sir to you,
Let's
they are
ask.
from India.
Let's ask.
I can see the guy's name is like Deepak Chopra or something.
Deepak Chopra.
It wasn't Deepak. It wasn't Deepak Chopra.
Is he
I
watching?
know he watches it.
Somebody said racist. That's not racist.
Facts.
Stop getting your panties in a bunch, people. It's not
Oh, someone
racist
said
to say
KKK.
that people from India say sir. Oh, the world's so dumb sometimes. Somebody said they want to be Ty, Tony Stark, and Trump. Now that's a weird combination. Someone said Hillary is a lying biatch. Man, Hillary brought out, people either love Hillary or she's too polarizing. Although Donald Trump is just as much. God. I sometimes wonder did you think, what are the odds that there will be a civil war in a big continent like North America or the EU? I feel like there is a chance that there will be out and out just
SpongeBob and Nelson Mandela.
because if you look at Charlottesville was little teeny microcosm of a civil war. You got people from the same country, people running people over, people hit. Did you see some of the footage of people hitting people with that one with a bat, and that lady up in Boston at that rally where they grabbed her by the flag? She was holding a flag. I don't understand it. She didn't want to let go of the flag. I guess she was being patriotic, but they like dragged her down on the ground. I was like, God, it's funny because if you met those people that you were protesting against, half of them would you probably walk by them. You probably buy Starbucks from them every day, It's like, jeez. Somebody said, can't we all get along? All right. Another point from this book on execution, which I recommend everybody here read. Reward the doers. This is an important principle. So if you're leading a team, it's very easy to forget to reward the best people. It is, trust me. If you look at great basketball coaches, Phil Jackson was a great basketball coach. He was a little more controversial as a general manager, but as a coach, and player, he had 13 rings, which is pretty much the most of anybody. And he said he had to remember to reward, because your natural instinct is to be like, all right, Michael Jordan doesn't need to hear the rewards. He's Michael Jordan. But really, Michael Jordan still needed it. And it makes more sense. Reward Jordan, because if Michael Jordan or LeBron James plays well, you're going to do well. So one of the things, if you're trying to motivate yourself, you can't forget to reward yourself. And one of the things that I talk about, like, people are like, Ty, why do you have Lamborghinis and Ferraris? I'm like, well, part of the reason those were like rewards. I would set goals and then be like, if I hit this goal, I'll buy a Lamborghini or a car. I did that last year. I was like, I'll give away cars. I gave away 10 cars last year. Give 10 people brand new cars, maybe 11, but 10 for sure. I forget the number. And I bought 2. So it was like a good ratio. It was like every 5 cars I give away, I'll give myself one. And see, everybody wins that way. And that's why one of the problems in the world now is people want to stop. They don't understand the reward system. They don't understand the part of your brain that's called dopamine. The dopamine, there's receptors in your brain. And if you kill those, if you don't reward them, they actually, it's interesting, they shed, they disappear. So there's a lot of people, the reason they procrastinate is they don't have enough dopamine receptors in their brain getting them excited about stuff. You have to be able to overcome procrastination, you have to anticipate things. If you want to make $1 million on social media, you have to be excited about the project before you start, or you'll never start. You can't just go, oh, well, I'll be depressed until I actually see myself make $1 million with my social media agency. No, that's not going to happen. It's not how the game of life works. You get excited first because you have the vision, and mentally, on the scientific side, people who are ambitious grow new dopamine receptors. Isn't that interesting? Like, the brain actually can create or get rid of. Your brain, your body and your brain is very efficient. If you stop lifting weights, your body stops keeping extra muscle. It just goes, we don't need it. Muscle needs a lot of fuel, and you get scrawny. If you start lifting weights, your body goes, we got to divert and put our energy stores towards muscle growth. And so for everyone who's struggling with motivation that's listening here, it's usually a brain issue. Sometimes it's what I said earlier, where it's like you're not partnered up with people who offset your weaknesses. But it's also this other one. There's really multiple factors. So by partnering, you overcome. It's kind of like you cover some of your weaknesses, but you don't eliminate them. And the only way you really eliminate them is over time, your brain function can actually change. Like you can become less of a procrastinator, and your brain will help you by going, oh, Armin doesn't really procrastinate. Let's grow some more dopamine receptors so that when he does something, more pleasure is released, more pleasure hormones, dopamine, let's say, is released in his brain and he experiences it more, So that is point number 19. We're getting close to being done here. We're going to be done in about 5 or 10 minutes. Someone said, Ty, it's difficult to become an entrepreneur at 20 years of age. No, it's not. It is not difficult at 20. In fact, 20 is the easiest. You have the least obligations, No, it's easier. Yeah. Hold on one second. Can you get the gate, Adrian?
Yeah, I got it.
So for me, it's much more about not thinking about things like that. Not thinking about like, oh, I'm this age, therefore it's easier or hard. It's age is one of the least of your worries. So for example, if you're super young and you get an idea that you want to do and you're only 12, you're going to have some disadvantages. Like Bill Gates started a business before he was 18. A big business, became Microsoft, and he would be on the phone and he'd have to change his voice. He'd be like, yes, this is Bill Gates here. I'd like to sell you some computers. That's literally what he did. You can read about it. And that's not, it's hard, but it's not that hard. You just make your voice like, oh yeah. And on the flip side, if you look at the guy who started Kentucky Fried Chicken, Colonel Sanders, he had failed at almost, he had one of the worst luck. Colonel Sanders, he dropped out of high school at 12. He fought in the Spanish-American War or something like that. He was a mule driver. He delivered babies, even though he wasn't a doctor. He, what was the other thing? He was a judge, even though he had never been to law school. This was like in Kentucky. It was like in the good old boys. And he even, one of the funniest things was, not funny, but craziest thing, his big business at the end that was doing well was being a hotel operator. He owned a big hotel on one of the main highways.
You want her in here?
Yeah, you can listen. One of the main highways. I'm not blue chair. Hey, we're doing a podcast. And what he did was he just said, all right, I'm going to make so much money with my hotel. He started counting his chickens before they were hatched, And guess what? The highway system changed and they built a new highway and literally nobody went through the damn the highway anymore by his hotel. Mm-hmm. So he lost all his money and then it caught on fire. Oh, so he had no money. He was living out of his car, and then what he did was he went out and asked 1,000 people to give him money to start Kentucky Fried Chicken. And the 1,000th person almost, it was like 900 and somebody, he got rejected over 900 times. And at 65, he became a millionaire. He died at like 75 or something. So he was so the point is, it's like when you're trying to execute and you're going, is it my age? It's usually the least of your worries. The biggest thing of your worries, and I will tell you, and this book talks about it, one thing you need is strategy. So I do think that ideas can be good and bad. I think a lot of people have bad ideas. And so I don't think you should over or underestimate. Some people go, all you need is to execute and work hard. BS. If you work hard on a bad strategy, you will be poor. I guarantee you. Guarantee you. I had a guy that came, just for example, what if you launch a business today and you go, I'm going to, pick up dog crap and I'm going to recycle it and use it for charcoal or something. That ain't gonna work, because the second people figure out that they're burning dog crap, your business is gonna get shut down, right? It's a invalid idea. What are some of the dumb ideas that people have told me? I mean, ideas can better than ideas. I like to think of the word strategy, because idea is just the seed. Strategy is the whole kind of the game plan. It's kind of the business plan, and that whole business plan, the whole one, is your strategy. An idea is like step one, but I see it's very rare that someone has a good strategy. Very rare that people have a good strategy. So I don't think you should overestimate or underestimate execution versus strategy. You need both, and the odds of most people getting both is none, and that's why it's good for you. That's why it doesn't matter to the person who said they're 15. There's almost no smart businesses being launched. I'll show you something cool. I'm gonna go to this app called, I'm gonna go to TechCrunch. Who here watches? You ever seen TechCrunch? You never seen it, Armin?
Never ever.
I'm disappointed in you. TechCrunch is kind of like a Silicon Valley news blog, and it basically talks about the newest ideas coming out, but they list these ideas, and some of them are so stupid. Like, let's see here.
You're not selling me on it.
No, it's a good blog.
TechCrunch is amazing.
It shows you also what's working, like SoftBank, an Asian bank, just put $4.4 billion into WeWork. WeWork is such a simple business idea, by the way. All a guy did, and he's a billionaire now, was say offices, instead of trying to lock them into long-term leases, you could just rent an office and per chair. So if you hired 5 more people, you just pay for 5 more chairs, and if you fire them, you can just reduce it, versus the old way, which is you get locked into a freaking business lease. And anybody here could have come up with that was a good idea, because it's a problem for people that need offices. They don't want to sign a long-term contract. But he had to have a whole strategy to it. Strategy is like the product development, the brand name, how you get the product out to people. Do you use social media marketing? Do you viral marketing? All that stuff. But let's just see some of these things. By the way, HBO's app has now pulled in $19 million since the Game of Thrones premiere of season 7. So, good business idea. Make an app so people can, HBO and these companies were stupid for a while. You had to go watch it on TV, not your iPad. I only watch it on TV. Okay, here's a new, tell me thumbs up or thumbs down if you think this is a good business. It's called Auto. It's $700 for a premium smart lock. So it's a lock. I think it's like a lock, let me see, can you put your finger scan? So here's the lock right here. It's like got a little number thing. Is that a big, who here has ever thought about locks?
Sounds really expensive.
Would you spend $700 on a lock?
Like a bike lock?
No, it's like a lock on a door. This is kind of not the best
The
article.
lock itself. Pablo might. He should get a few. He should probably get a few.
Yeah, they have door locks. I guess people, I don't know. I would not put all my life work into the development of a lock company. At least not this one, because one thing that's wrong with this one, it's not easy to explain what it is. I was telling you, Mentor Box. You guys got to learn how to have a quick elevator speech. If someone says, "What is Mentor Box?" I'm like, "Oh, easy. It's like the Netflix of books." Then everybody's like, "Oh, okay. You understand. You get a membership, and you get, instead of movies, you get access to books." Auto. I don't know what a smart lock is. Aren't all lock? I guess it means no key, but isn't that a combination? I guess you put your finger on it. I don't know. Just showing you that all the ideas that get investors are not always great. One other business. Tell me if you like this one. Okay, here's a company called Romeo Power that just raised $30 million. Billion. I feel like Austin Powers. Okay, so they're competing with Tesla. But here's what they're saying. They have at least 25% more energy density than existing lithium ion, the world's most energy dense battery pack. So basically it's a battery that goes longer for cars or anything. Who likes that idea? Because I give that one a major thumbs up.
Pretty good.
Batteries. What's the number one problem people have with their damn phone? iPhones. If you had a phone that was as good as the iPhone but lasted 24 hours of full use with people would drop the iPhone. Because that's the number one thing people hate about iPhones.
Yeah.
My iPhone, and I don't know what it is with iPhone. The longer that I have an iPhone, the kind of crappier it is. Like mine sometimes holds battery, it's like 2 hours of using it and it's dead. So I think this company, and this is why I said you guys need to read a lot, because then you'll get comparative ideas. Which idea would you rather be involved in? Locks? Like what's the total, the total market for locks? First of all, it's a fragmented business. Nobody goes, you know what? When I use locks, I only use, blah, 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 like a door lock. Maybe a lock for your bike, but a door lock? What is the brand on doors? I don't even know.
No.
Do you know what it is?
No idea.
Nothing.
Nobody knows.
So I think but batteries are in everything now. So by the way, some of you wanting business ideas, you don't even have to be an engineer. You could put together a company where you hire people that are engineers and you just be the marketing person, and you could use this for social. Once again, social media is a very powerful way to grow a battery company. For example, one of the things that I use, I should be a spokesperson for this company because I buy so many of them, but I use these little RAV powers to charge my phone. So you just plug it in here and whatever, it's 2 hours. It charges my phone up in 30 minutes from 0 to 100. And I think that's a good business. Now it's a little bit saturated now, but batteries, it's not that hard. You can even buy these and rebrand them. I'm sure you could go to China, buy these maybe I want to do that. Maybe I'll do a drop shipping business. You just make some let's try to brainstorm as we close up one good idea that somebody watching or listening could execute on.
Could drop shit.
So that you could potentially make more than Floyd Mayweather is about to make tomorrow, 400 million. You could make more. A good battery company will be worth billions.
Battery case for your phone.
But what would be unique? The Kardashians, she made a ton of money. Kim Kardashian, when she made that case that had a light around it, yeah, she made, I forget. Look how much she made on that Kim Kardashian app. Can you look that up, Colin?
Yeah.
Kim Kardashian light case. So what's an angle on these batteries that you could buy from China or from some wholesale company, and you could change it, rebrand them to your brand, and sell them on Amazon using Facebook ads?
It's a belt.
A belt.
Like a dress belt.
Okay. So a belt and the belt buckle or something you plug into?
Yeah, that's where it charges.
Okay. What else?
There's nothing better than
Is this
that.
for us? I was looking at Kim Kardashian.
What would you
She was
say?
just sued for $100 million. I didn't see how much she made. Kim Kardashian.
Yeah, 'cause someone else said it was their idea.
For $100 million.
Yeah.
Patent infringement.
Well, I can tell you that usually you get sued like that for how much money you made. So she probably made $100 million. When you, maybe not, but a lot of times lawyers will try to investigate how much money they think you made. I don't know if she would make $100 million, but I guarantee you she made more than $10 million. What else? Electric underwear? Good luck with that idea. All right, I'm gonna put a battery charger in my underwear and plug my phone into my balls. That does not sound like a good idea. A phone that charges with hand warp. I think the best thing would be a solar charger. If you could have a cover that the back was a little photovoltaic, whatever, like panel. Although,
You'd have to hold it out.
yeah, you'd have to walk
You
around.
have to walk around like
Yeah,
that.
people walking around. Yeah, that might not be good.
They could do like those watches that
Text like
you
this.
move in your pocket if it kind of.
I
You
know
mean like the
somebody who does
movement
that.
charges it?
Yeah, like the watches do, but
Okay.
I know
Probably not
somebody.
enough.
They've got that same thing going on the back on a backpack.
backpack.
So you wear the backpack around and.
oh, okay.
Sneakers that generate power from walking. Okay. Yeah. iPhone 8 is better. It charges faster. But the iPhone 8's like $1,200. That's the problem.
That's a rumor, right?
I think it's gonna be true. You
Really?
don't think it'll be that much?
I think if it is, they're gonna have a lower price point offering also.
Well, they'll do a subsidy with like Verizon. If you do it on Verizon, you get it for like $300 or something.
Yeah. Well, but everyone on the phone plans, right? They're all leasing nowadays.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. That's such a tough price point to jump up to. What are they at now? New 7,
900 for the.
Are they really
28?
9?
At the.
There, but most people don't get a phone blank. They buy
Yeah.
it through when their plan is up. Most people are like, dude, I can't afford a phone. They wait till their plan's up and they get it for $300.
Yeah.
I guarantee. How much did you pay for your phone, Kate?
I have no idea. I don't know. I don't pay attention.
You just bought it. You just
I
said,
just bought the
here's
phone.
my credit card. Somebody said Uber for marijuana. That's not going to be an idea that works well, but you can try.
Everyone wants to get into marijuana.
Bro, what about a screen door for a submarine? That is one of the worst jokes. We got dad
Back to the
jokes
Future.
being
We got
told
a
here.
future joke.
Granddad jokes. That is one of the old. That's like seriously. If you Google that joke, I promise you, it's from the 1930s,
Well, I know it's
Or
in a
40s.
song from way back.
from the Beatles.
Yep.
Yeah, we need to. Adrian, you failed us. You should have done that sound.
It turned off.
Won't keep the title. Dog toothpaste. You know what?
I think they have that.
I think that's a good idea
Dogs
because
do need
dogs have
toothpaste.
the worst breath.
Have you tried to brush a dog's teeth? No, it's not very easy.
No, what about dog gum? Where it has to chew it slowly and that makes its breath bad. Dog gum.
Or what about like water or liquid that it drinks, but it freshens the breath
Yeah, I
too?
do that with my dog. They have this thing that you pour in the water and it freshens their breath.
What is that
that's-
sound? Adrian has a chimpanzee.
That's a good idea.
No, you need to do one that's like.
Well, for you guys' ideas, it's.
Oh, for my idea? Okay. Somebody said Hillary Clinton toothpaste. Do you take calls? Well, I don't take live calls, but you can do the same thing with live comments. I'm live right now. Floating nightstands that mount what? Perfume for dogs. What do you think of a drive-through breakfast restaurant? I'll tell you. Okay, this is from who is this? Daquan DeBerry. All right, Daquan DeBerry. Here is my advice. I think somebody needs a breakfast-only restaurant because people love breakfast. The only thing there is now is IHOP and Waffle House. What else is a breakfast-only place? Because IHOP.
Yes, man.
Even IHOP.
How'd you get that?
It was on here. It's a different one.
Oh my God, that's one of my favorite.
Even
meals.
IHOP is not breakfast only because they have like burgers.
But it's like, yeah. But imagine a place that's like
yeah.
In-N-Out Burger. It's In-N-Out Burger, but it's just breakfast. What's your favorite meal? Breakfast.
Always breakfast.
I can eat breakfast if it had good waffles. If you had good eggs, not like when I was traveling. We were just all of us. Well, not all of us, but Adrian, Armin, me, and Kate were yesterday. We were in Tampa, Florida for a business meeting I had. And where did we eat at?
IHOP. Worst eggs.
Dude,
I
the
can finish
food
my
in
food.
America in these kind of restaurants is so bad. I mean, how could you get, I guess, no food and people starve to death? But sometimes I'm worried about America. Like when you travel, it's a food desert. When I was in Tampa airport, it's like, here's your food choices. Chick-fil-A, which,
They
like,
suck.
McDonald's.
McDonald's, but I got Chick-fil-A and I was like, let me have a lemonade. It has so much sugar in it. I was
Even a
like,
smoothie.
but I was like, is this a diabetes shake? I mean, literally, it's like our main goal is to give you just holding it. I started to become pre-diabetic. God, I was like, what the hell? So I think a breakfast place, Arnold Schwarzenegger's son, Patrick, who I've gotten to know a little bit, him and LeBron James started a pizza joint. And this pizza place it's just valued at like $400 million. And I think Patrick's only 19 years old. He's not the only, there's a group of people, LeBron and others. Someone said Subway is healthy. It's not that healthy, but Subway is healthier than McDonald's. And look how popular it is, man. Subway's in so many countries. You go to Europe, they don't have Taco Bell. They have Subway. So I think that there should be way more, good food choices. Food is $1 trillion industry in the world. Not billion, not million, not 100 million, not 100 billion. It's $1 trillion. The amount of money that goes into agriculture and food, just think about it. What does every single person in the world spend money on? Food. How much you spend on food, Armin? You're a bachelor, what do you spend?
I spend too much.
Guess.
I don't know.
Counting going out to eat.
Like 700, 800 a month or something.
So wait, just do it per day. How much you spend a day?
A day? Okay.
100?
A day,
50?
Like 50, yeah.
So that's 1,500. Whoa. It's just water. Spilled some water. That's $1,500
That's
a month.
like Postmates and all that stuff.
Yeah, but I'm saying,
It
so
didn't used to be that high.
if you're spending $1,500 a month, he's spending,
Yeah, they got me.
that means you're spending $20,000 a year on food, man. 18,000. So we'll round it to 20. So imagine how much money there is being in the damn food business. So some of you need to get in the food business. I'm telling you. So, all right, we're gonna give away this laptop. What should we do, Kate, for this laptop?
We didn't give it away yet.
Right. Somebody said water is gonna go up in price. You're probably right. Let's do. Let's look back at the notes. So I'm gonna be quizzing you on what a number from my notes was. Okay, to win this brand new iPad. This is what is it?
MacBook.
MacBook Air 12-inch. Okay, I'll mail this to you. Here's what you got to do on any of the live. And if you're watching this on the recorded podcast, you should follow me on Instagram or Facebook or Twitter and YouTube, and you'll see me when I go live. If you want to watch these lives, then you can ask me a question. So you need to video this, Sam.
Adrian,
Okay.
he's gonna do it.
Do. Okay, you ready? Because it's gonna come at you fast. I'm gonna ask you from my notes that I left. I had 19 points to today's podcast radio episode. So what was number 12? Ready, set, go. First person, what was number 12? Who was paying attention? You're gonna be rewarded with a brand new iPad. Make sure I can see there. Yeah.
Oh, right there.
Right there. Chase Dyer 1231 on Twitter. Go straight to the top. Chase Dyer. We had quite a few people do it, but he was a little bit ahead of everybody. It was go straight to the top. When you're looking for advice, why not get it from people who have achieved at the highest levels? It's just as easy to get advice from a top person as your next door neighbor. But most people literally ask their next door neighbor for advice. I don't ask my next door neighbor for advice in anything unless they're the best in that area. So, congratulations. What was his name?
His name is
Chase. On Twitter, you can wish him. It's not somebody I know. This isn't rigged. It's not an employee winning.
Chase Dyer 1231.
What is it?
Chase Dyer 1231.
So if you want to go on Twitter, congratulate him. Chase Dyer. Is it D-Y-E-R?
D-Y-E-R.
D-Y-E-R and the number 1231. Boom. Isn't that your Twitter, Kate? Aren't you Chase Dyer?
No, I'm not.
Kate has hundreds of laptops. That's what people think. They're like, how do I know this is real? I'm like, oh, you're so smart. There's thousands of people that I've created Twitters for, I've created profiles for, and I'm secretly on there winning my own prizes. Congrats, Chase Dyer, Diana says. All right, well, Pablo Escobar, George Lopez,
Hola.
Kate, and Zach is gone. He went to a horror movie. So somebody said that seems like a legit theory. That Ty's just keeping all the laptops. I have hundreds of laptops. I've given away, I've counted how many people who have won prizes from me in the last year. It's way over 500 people. So last I checked a few weeks ago or a few months ago, it was like 485. So now it's probably 600 or so. 10 cars, probably at least 100 laptops, iPhones, cash. I'm trying to hit $1 million. We're over 500 grand that I've given away. So somebody said, Peter said 10 cars. What the? Yeah, I gave 10 cars away. I gave everyone, the winners, a choice between a Mustang, a Ford F-150. No one ever picked the Ford F-150. Zero. One person picked it and then changed. The number one car was the Mustang and Camaro. Actually, Camaro was the most.
I would have picked.
I think Jeep was in there too.
No, one girl
No
got
one
a
picked
Jeep.
it, but it was-
No, one girl got a Jeep.
Oh, one did?
One did. Yep. She cried when I went down to the dealership in downtown. I gave her the car, and she had never. Her family was real poor. She had been sick, and so she was like 25 and never had a car before. And she's like, changed my life. She had gotten a disease. I forget. Oh no, she got like Lyme's disease. So she like, you lose all your energy. For 5 years she was sick, and then she won this like 1 week after. She did. Someone said all tax write-offs. Andrew, you're an idiot. You know nothing about how taxes work. I promise you. I love when people give stuff away and they go, it's a tax write-off, but you still have less money, dumbass. The tax credit, it's not a tax credit, first of all. So if you give $1 million, just so a little financial tip for everybody here that does, because most people don't know what the hell they're talking about. A tax credit versus a tax deduction. A tax credit is a dollar for dollar deduction. So if I gave away a car for $25,000 and got a 25 grand tax credit, that would, if my taxes were high enough, that would mean the car would cost me nothing to give away because I spent 25 grand and the government but the government doesn't give you tax credits for charity at all. Or they don't, not that I know of, maybe some special cases. They give you tax deductions. So that means if you give away 500 grand worth of stuff to people and you can deduct it, if you're in the 30% tax bracket, that means that you get to deduct 150 grand. So you gave away 500 grand and you get to deduct 150, save 150. So you still are out of pocket $350,000. So it's amazing. No matter what you do, even if you help people, some dumbass will find a way to be like, well, this is tax write-off. So I'm like, well, then you do it. Why don't you do it then? If it's for the tax credit, I'll be like, I know why. Because you have no money, because you have a bad mindset. It's really how the game goes, man. People got no mindset. When you have no mindset, that's a loser mindset. I mean, look, I don't agree with everybody out there in the world, but I don't fixate on people and go and try to like figure out. I don't go, well, did Steve Jobs do everything right? Because that's how most people are in terms of who they look up to. They're like, well, if Steve Jobs, I found out, for example, if you guys don't know, Steve Jobs had a daughter and he denied her. He never even gave the mother a penny. His daughter lived in poverty while he was a billionaire. Now, some people said, it wasn't his daughter, but he would not do a DNA test. So it's not like he tried to find out. And he literally, so Steve Jobs is no idol, but he's also a human. And almost all people do messed up. I mean, if you went through your life and you projected on a movie screen for the whole world to see, there would probably be some things that you would be embarrassed to show. And that's just how people are. So never spend too much time trying to dissect the flaws of people, because you won't have to go far and you'll end up not being able to learn from anybody. There are no saints really on this planet when you look at their whole life. Now, hopefully they're not as bad as Pablo Escobar. You're not setting people on fire. But Pablo Escobar had his nice side. Pablo Escobar loved his kids. One thing the movie Narcos is completely wrong is his son was not. You know how his son's this little fat kid in Narcos? Have you guys seen Narcos?
Yeah.
In Narcos, his son is this like little fat roly-poly kid that follows him around that's like 8. The real story at that point, Pablo Escobar's son was a big guy, like 6'3", big, or not 6'3", like 6'1" and like 19. So Pablo Escobar was very, very close with his son. In fact, at the end, it was him and his son pretty much fighting for his life and for his mom. Pablo Escobar's daughter lost her hearing, part of her hearing in one ear because of a bomb that went off. People tried to blow. So Pablo Escobar, if you met Pablo Escobar, he would have his reasons. He would be like, look, I grew up in Colombia in the late 1940s. If you know anything about Colombian history, it was one of the most warlike countries in the world, dude. Boy, so he was grown up. He grew up in just an environment where people were getting set on fire. The police were completely crooked. That's why he would kill people, because he had his reasons. He could justify. Pablo Escobar said, you know why I kill people? Because if I go to the police and the police are on the payroll of the Cali cartel, then the police kill me. So I got to take matters in my own hands. So when you look at Steve Jobs or you look at like this guy and all these people, you just try to take the best. Like when I read from, you know what I learned from Pablo Escobar? Be bold. He was a bold dude, man. He was super bold. You know, all the way to the end. They say he died. It's a myth. No one knows exactly what happened in the last minute, but they think, because he lost his shoes. They kicked the door down, and they came after him, and he had his one guy with him, Limon. I think it was Limon who got shot. But in the very end, he took 2 guns, and he just ran out and was like, fuck you, police, and just shot. And there was snipers everywhere. He did not go far. He got shot once in the knee, and I think once in the chest, and then one perfectly through the ear. And so people think that he was still alive, and the police walked up to him and shot him, executed him in the ear, because it was this group of police guys that hate him. But my point is when you start going too deep into people before you're going to listen to anything they say, you're never going to have anybody who you can learn from. Like literally everybody. So sometimes people go, Ty, what about this? Someone said he committed suicide. No, Daniel, he probably didn't commit suicide. I mean, we know he was shot in the leg and arm. But it's possible. No one completely knows. But yeah, the point is not Pablo Escobar. The point is learn from everybody, even if it's what not to do. That's what Abraham Lincoln said. So anyway, somebody said Narcos is such a good series. I'm sad about the end. Wait, didn't you know that was how the end was? Like everybody knows Pablo Escobar is dead, so it's not like a spoiler alert.
Oh, is he?
Or is he? Sorry. I swear, you could be a stand-in.
I would love to do that.
Go Google, literally Google Sam and Google what a freaking. Oh man, that's funny. And you look less like George Lopez than he looks like.
Yeah, no, he looks exactly like that.
Do you do the mustache, Sam, just so you can? Is that part of it? Be honest.
There's many reasons.
What's the other reasons?
It's become its own entity. When I go over to my friend's house, they're like, "Oh, we're hanging out with the mustache. He just brought you."
They
too."
call you your mustache?
Yeah.
Well, everybody, thank you for being a part. Remember the 19 points. You can use them with social media or to start your own battery business, water business. Hopefully nobody starts, well, maybe dog toothpaste. I don't know.
Risky.
Armin's
You
giving
gotta
it.
stick your hands in there.
Yeah, I think dog gum would be better.
The toothbrushes they make go on your finger and you stick your finger
Oh,
in their
no.
mouth. I don't think that's a good idea.
Kate's ready to go. Kate's looks. Kate, what's the 19 points? You missed it. All right. He just came on.
Beginning one more time.
We just went for exactly. How long did we go for?
2 hours, 50 minutes?
2 hours and 59. Oh, wait, Kate, we got to go 20 more seconds to get to exactly 3 hours. What's your insight on scaling a social media agency to 250 grand EBITDA?
Stay tuned for next time.
So you probably need to make 250 grand. You probably need to make gross about 700,000, 30% margins. It gets you around 250,000 net. So I always break everything down into daily goals. That's how I try to do it. So if you want to make 700,000 in a year, you roughly got to make 2 grand a day, right? Am I right? So 2 grand a day.
I think
That's what you got to make.
Yeah.
So
that's a million. Isn't
No,
it?
36
no.
times 2.
300. If you made a grand a day, you'll make about 365,000, right? There's 365 days. So if you make 2 grand, it's about 700.
Never mind.
So then I think about that. So I go to make 2 grand a day, or you could do it monthly. Let's say that's 60 grand a month. How many clients do I need? Well, if on average, oh, I forgot to mention for those of you coming in, I'm gonna be doing a special version of my social media marketing agency till this Saturday. For one week from now. What is today? Friday. Till Friday. And so you go to tylopez.com/social media. Make sure you go to that, and I'll actually be doing live training, which I've never done before. I've taken 25,000 people through my video course, but I've never done it live like this. So if you on average get customers that are paying you $2,000 a month, you only need 30 customers. 30 customers. If you know, it's totally doable. There's marketing agencies that have 5,000 customers. So you get 30, and that's if you want to make, and that's assuming you might not need that many if you're doing all the work yourself and not have too many employees. You might be able to just have, 15 clients and make the same. And if you can get some clients to pay you 5 or 10 grand, that's where you make. So it's much easier when you break down the goals into those daily or monthly goals. Never focus on annual goals. I never focus on annual. You only need that for the IRS. Only reason to keep track of annual is for the IRS, or if you're a publicly traded company, you have to do it for, shareholders. But okay, I will see some of you this week when I do the live training, teaching you how to make more money with social media, marketing agency, get small businesses to pay you 1 to 10 grand a month. tylopez.com/social media. Go to that link if you want the free live training bonus, or else you'll just get the online program. tylopez.com/social media, all one word. Okay? Talk to you soon. End slate. Boom.
Perfect.
Ooh, oh man, that thing hurts my ears. Kate, are you falling asleep?
No.
You're not supposed to see this?
Oh.
Adrian, do you want me to grab the actual slate and do an N one? Or does it matter?
Oh, that was good.
I don't think I actually ever
Oh.
met you before we started the podcast.
Yeah.
I'm Colin.
Nice to meet you.
I'm gonna stop recording.
Colin was curious about the numbers that we show immediately after on these
Yeah.
versus how they add up to the replays.
Oh,
what-
you get about double.
But do live views count towards
that?
the overall views?
Yeah. Yep.
They do?
Yep.
Because when
On
I see-
Facebook?
Yeah, and on YouTube. Do they?
Not
do
as
they
sure
work
on YouTube,
differently?
but for sure on Facebook
Okay, for sure.
and Instagram.
Okay.
Yeah, YouTube. For Facebook, if you get 50,000 people watching initially, and you